Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. For this Monday Night Football, we have League One action as local rivals Derby County take on Burton Albion. Derby currently sits in 4th in League One after just one defeat in their last 10 in the league. A win tonight will put the Rams up above Bolton into 3rd spot, but the Wanderers would have 2 games in hand on Derby. Burton find themselves towards the bottom of the table after 5 losses in their last 6 in the league, but they are now under a new head coach as former Barnsley and Swansea assistant manager Martin Patterson has joined to take on his first ever head coach role. Despite being 19th currently, Burton are only 5 points off the top half of the table. When these two sides met earlier on in the season, Derby won comfortably by 3-0 at the Pirelli Stadium, with goals coming from Collins, Hurahan and Washington. Not a great away record though for Burton at Derby County, as they have never won at Pride Park, with a draw in February 2017 and 2 defeats in December 2017 and April 2023. So for only their 8th competitive meeting, can Derby do the league double, or will Burton spring a surprise on Paul Warren's Derby County team? I say it's a very short away trip, just the 25 minutes between the two, so a 50-minute round trip for Burton Albion tonight, which is quite a nice trip on a Monday night. You don't really want to be travelling hours to on a Monday, so it's a nice little short away trip for Burton Albion, who are 19th and are now under their new head coach of Martin Patterson after they had let go of their previous manager Dino Mamria. So it's a new start. It's Martin Patterson's first ever head coach role. As I mentioned before, he has been an assistant manager with Phil Neville at Inter Miami, and then he was working under Michael Duff, who got Barnsley into the playoffs last season in League One, and then was just at Swansea at the start of this season, but was recently sacked. So he has now took on his own job at Burton Albion. So he's never had an experience of being a head coach and being the main man in charge, but this is his time to hopefully shine for Martin Patterson, Northern Irish, Northern Irish, 36 years of age, so quite young as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how the tables, hopefully for Burton, could turn in their table under the new head coach. But it looks like this season they just probably want to solidify themselves into League One again for another season. Don't want to be flirting around that relegation spaces. They want to be clear of that and get themselves as a strong League One side. But for these two teams, they've met previously on plenty of occasions in friendlies, but they very rarely meet competitively. Like I said, just the 8th meeting competitively. They met twice last season, where the first game was at the Pirelli Stadium. That was a 1-1 draw. And then in April of last year, just a David McGoldrick penalty separated the two teams at Pride Park. So quite close affairs last season. This season wasn't quite that at the Pirelli Stadium. They met on the second game of the season, and that was in mid-August, and Derby won 3-0 goals from Collins, Hurahan and Washington. And that was Derby's first win at Burton's Pirelli Stadium, which has been opened in 2005, so it was a good positive result for Derby County against, I say, local rivals. I was actually searching it up, the rivalry, and I don't think it's an intense rivalry. I think they're just close. So you kind of try and put those two together and try and make a rivalry if possible. But I don't think there really is much of a rivalry. It's just more that they are, neighbours. They're very close to each other. Like I say, just the 25 minutes apart. So an easy away trip for Burton, but it'd be a difficult one on the pitch, that's for sure. Derby currently 4th in the table at the moment. A win would take them up to 3rd. They would go level on points with Peterborough as well, who are in 2nd. So it is very interesting at the top of League One. It is very close up there. We've got currently Portsmouth leading the way, but they have fell off a little bit in the last 5 or so games. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how the League One table all shapes up. So kickoff is just around 5 minutes away here at Pride Park. You can see both lineups, but we'll go through them now in more detail now as you can see them on screen. We'll start with Derby County, and they continue with Josh Vickers in goal, signed on a free in the summer from Rotherham. He played the full 90 minutes in their last league game against Fleetwood, and he's kept his spot now for his third appearance in the league this season. It looks like they've gone to a back four, which will have Kane Wilson at right back, joined in the summer from Bristol, and he'll play with right centre back Curtis Nelson, who joined on a free in the summer from Blackpool. A academy graduate of Erin Cashin plays at left centre back with the Australian Callum Elder at left back. He is now making appearance number 101 in League One. Two holding midfielders, it's going to be another academy graduate, and that is Max Bird. He'll play alongside captain for tonight, Connor Hurahan. Three behind the striker on the right is going to be Tom Barkhazen, who has got 3 goals in his last 7 games. That's all the goals he's got so far this season in the league. On the left is going to be Nathaniel Mendez Lang, who has got 1 goal previously, 9 against Burton. That came in the Championship in the 2017-2018 season. Loney from Arsenal played just behind the striker, and that is Tyrese John Jules, who is just making his second start in League One, and they have both come in the last 2 games against Fleetwood and then again tonight against Burton. And leading the line up front is going to be James Collins. He's got 11 goals, 3 in his last 2, and he's also scored a hat-trick this season in the EFL Trophy against Wolves under-21s, which in fact Derby were knocked out of in their last game they've played. It was at home to Bradford of League 2 when they were knocked out of the EFL Trophy. So huge disappointment there for Derby, because they probably would have fancied getting themselves to Wembley in the EFL Trophy. I mean, I don't know what it's called these days. I think it's called the Bristol Motors Company Trophy, something like that. I don't know, but both of these teams' last game were defeats in the EFL Trophy. Burton lost to Blackpool as well in the EFL Trophy away from home. But they're not under too bad form, Burton, at the moment. When they were under the caretaker management of Gary Mills, they've not done that badly in the league. They've got 2 wins in their last 5, both at home to Blackpool and Shrewsbury. They've drawn 1 against Wickham, and they've lost away to Bolton as well. So 2 wins in 5, 2 draws against Wickham and Charlton, and then the defeat to Bolton. So they haven't been losing loads in the league at the moment. You know, 1 loss in their last 5, if you want to see it that way as well, as both sets of players are out on the pitch. As that is the Derby starting 11, and we have got the Burton starting 11, and it is going to be goalkeeper Max Crocombe, who's making his 24th start in a row in the league today. 3 centre-halves. It's going to be John Brayford, the captain, 36 years of age. He is making appearance number 300 for Burton, a club he's been at since August 2017 after spending a year on loan previously, and he was also at the club for 2 years from 2006-2008. Or part of that back three is going to be Jasper Moon and Sam Sweeney, both brought in the summer on transfers. 3 across the midfield. Right wing back is going to be Jake Caprice. On the left hand side it's going to be Steve Seddon, and 2 central midfielders of Kieran Gilligan, who's making his 50th appearance for Burton, and he'll play alongside Deji Oshilija, who is spending his 3rd season at the club. He's got 2 goals in the league so far this season against Cambridge in October and Stevenage in December. And behind the 2 strikers, it looks like it's going to be Joe Powell, formerly of West Ham's academy, spent in 14 years at the Hammers. And 2 of the leading forwards up front is going to be Mason Bennett, formerly of Derby County. For 10 years, he made 89 senior appearances, scoring the 6 goals, and he'll play alongside Bez Lubala, who signed on a free from Blackpool in the summer. He's got 5 league goals. He is currently Burton Albion's leading goal scorer in League One. They are the 2 starting 11s. Derby are in their black and white home kit, and Burton are in their full black away kit. And who will take the bragging rights? Will it be Derby or Burton? But this is Burton's first ever game under their new head coach, Martin Patterson, who, as a player, against Derby, scored 3 goals. So he has got a decent record against Derby as a player. and he'll be coming up against tonight Paul Warne, who was previously at Rotherham for 5 years as their manager, and before that he was their assistant for 4. He's been at Derby now since September 2022, and this is his 79th game in charge of Derby, winning 39 of the previous 78. And it's going to be a big night tonight for Derby because they can't let the teams above them get ahead any further. They've got to try and keep as close as possible to the likes of Portsmouth, Peterborough and Bolton. They've got a chance tonight to go into third and go level on points with Peterborough in second. Burton will kick us off, kicking left to right. Derby will kick right to left. It will be Elijah to kick us off, and we get a false start there as Mendes Lang went a little bit too quickly there for Derby, as we're going to wait for the referee's whistle, and that is Ben Toner. And the ball's been played back here to Powell, who will go out to the left-hand side for Burton. It's a high ball towards Bennett, heads it on, but straight across to Kane Wilson, the Derby right back, who will let it roll out for a Derby County throw-in. He'll take it quickly. It's a big throw-in down the right-hand side. Barkhuizen can't quite get it under control. It's taken off him there. I think that was by left wing-back Steve Seddon for Burton. And it'll be anotw Derby throw-in, which they've taken, and they've gone backwards, and they're now in their 18-yard box with number 6, Erin Cashin. It looks like at the moment they are setting up as a yeah, that looks like a 4 to me, with Elder at left back and Wilson at right back for Derby. As we will get the time underway, there is a 1-2 between Wilson and Bird. Didn't quite come off there, but I think as Wilson was trying to make the run forward there, he was pulled back by Seddon, so it'll be a free kick for Derby on the far side, which has been taken quickly, and it's back on the halfway line with Cashin, the Irish central defender, former Ireland under-21 international, Erin Cashin. Not quite made an appearance for the senior team for Ireland, as at the moment on the far side again it's Hurahan. He goes back into Erin Cashin. The last time Derby played in the league was on the 6th of January. It was a 3-1 away win at Fleetwood Town. There's a ball forward down the left-hand side by Callum Elder, who will be seen through to the goalkeeper there, as he was aiming for Max Bird, but the ball was allowed to be seen through there to Max Crocombe, the New Zealand international for Burton. He's played recently for New Zealand. He's played twice for them in 2023, as his ball out to the left-hand side just goes under the foot there of Seddon, and it'll be a throw-in for Derby on the far side, just inside their own half. Maybe a bit of nerves. I can't imagine it being nerves, really, but it was a poor touch that by Steve Seddon. Well, wasn't even a touch. It went straight under his foot. In the end, as Derby will build from the back with Cashin once again on the edge of his 18-yard box. He will bring it forward and he'll play it to his left here to Elder. Down the line it goes. It's a ball for Mendes Lang, who will go inside now to Collins. Back to Mendes Lang, returning it to Collins in the left wing position. Gets it into the box. It's not dealt with very well by Burton. It drops to the edge of the area to Hurahan, who strikes towards the top left corner, and the captain wasn't too far away there. Not a great clearance by Burton's number 6, Sam Sweeney. Decent ball in by Collins towards the near post. Sweeney just got a foot towards it, and it rolled to the edge of the box where it was a bouncing ball, and Hurahan met it nicely, and it just went over the crossbar. Not the worst of attempts there by Conor Hurahan. And it'll be a Burton goal kick by Crocombe into the Derby half, helped on by Bennett. Lubala controls it, plays it out to the left here to Seddon. Backwards here to Powell. Back forward, looking for Seddon. Intercepted by Barkhuizen, who will go to his left here to Mendes Lang in the centre circle. Then out to left back Helder on the halfway line, on this near side. Goes back into Cashin, left centre back, inside the Derby County half. And Derby this season, they've got a 50% win rate at home in the league. 6 wins from 12, the 3 defeats as well at home. As they're getting forward here with Kane Wilson, the right back. He's charging forward, he goes down under a challenge, seen as an accidental trip, I think. And they'll be cleared by Powell for Burton. Down the left-hand side, it's kept in there, and Lubala keeps it in, and it'll be took over here by Bennett, who's charging away down the Burton left. He goes inside to Seddon, back towards Bennett. The touch is loose, and it's picked up there by Conor Hurahan for Derby, and the home side are back in possession with a great ball down the left-hand side by Cashin to Mendes Lang, who goes for a switch out himself to the right-hand side. It's a great ball, and it will find Barkhuizen on the far side, right-footed. Cross goes in, and it's well held by Max Crocombe in the 6-yard box. Good goalkeeping by the former Grimsby goalkeeper. promoted with Grimsby from the National League in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. Now he's plying his trade in League One. I remember watching him at Grimsby in the National League, and he definitely looks like a goalkeeper who could play at a higher standard than the National League. I'm glad he's got a club in League One as he kicks it forward towards Elijah. Loses out aerially, but the loose ball drops to Powell. Midway inside the Burton half on the far side, he finds Seddon. His ball forward is cut out here by Wilson for Derby, who will go backwards here and restart with number 35. Curtis Nelson was once a England under-18s international. That's the highest level of international football he got to now at the age of 30. Played most of his games in his career for Plymouth Argyle when he was at the club from 2010 to 2016. That's just inside the Burton half. It's right back Wilson. Again, being closed down there well by Plymouth, because Nelson played for Plymouth. For Burton's number 25, Kieran Gilligan. It's now on the Derby left. Elder searching ball for John Jules, who will get there on the byline. Right on the corner flag. It's been poked away from him by Jasper Moon, and that'll be a throw-in on this near side for Derby. He's done a few of those balls early on. Callum Elder, the left back, just down the channel, asking the questions, and they've been answered so far by Burton, who've won it back from the throw-in. Caprice down the line. I think it just ran out of pitch there as he cleared the ball, and it'll be a Derby County throw. Opening 5 minutes, no keepers been tested yet with a shot. As it's on this near side with Hurahan. Forward for Mendes Lang to his right to John Jules, who nutmegs one and then tackled fairly from a Burton Albion player, and it's cleared forward. It'll be chased down here by Bennett. Nelson will get there first though for Derby, and he'll sprint away with it on the far side and plays a lovely ball forward to Hurahan. And looking out wide there for Barkhausen, just went behind him. And that'll be a throw-in for Burton. Good skill there from Mendes Lang to nutmeg Powell. And then he was tackled very strongly by Moon. It's actually John Jules, with that skill. And yeah, Jasper Moon didn't let him get any further. And in fairness, it was a fair challenge. Got the ball. Quite aggressive, but you don't mind that when you're winning the ball. As the ball goes forward for Burton by Crocombe down the left-hand side, straight out for a throw-in midway inside the Derby half. Needs to improve his kicking there, Max Crocombe. Come on, you Brewers. Yeah, we've got some. Who are we supporting in the chat if you're watching? Are we supporting Derby or Burton? Oh, are we just neutrals? Just interested in the game of football tonight. As Callum Elder, the left back down the line for Mendes Lang. It's just going out of play. And it's going to be a throw-in for Burton on this near side. Midway inside their own half is Martin Patterson, the new head coach, is on the touchline there, barking instructions. I'm sure he'll be doing that all night, try to get his philosophy across, as, of course, he was only appointed on the 11th of January, which was, I think, Friday of last week, wasn't it, the 11th? Yeah, Thursday, he was appointed on the 11th, so he's not had much training with the Burton side, so he'll be keen to get his ideas across as quickly as possible, as it'll be Burton on the ball. Brayford clears it. Not very convincing. It'll go straight through for Cashin at the back for Derby. He'll go into his 18-yard box. The goalkeeper, Josh Vickers, who has played Burton Albion twice, and he's beat them twice. That was in the 2019-2020 season. And now he's broke as the number one goalkeeper at the moment, starting their last game in the league against Fleetwood and then again tonight. The goalkeeper, Paul Warren, has said that he feels like he's got two number ones now in goal. Obviously, Joe Wildsmith is on the bench tonight. But we know that sometimes having two number ones can cause a little bit more drama than needed with Arsenal, as Kane Wilson, the Derby right back, is marauding forward. What a run, final third. Gets a crossing at the near post, and it's had to be headed behind by number 6, Sam Sweeney. And he's impressed me the opening 8 minutes. Kane Wilson at right back. Only age 23. Came through at West Brom, their academy. And that was a great run. He just kept running forward. No one was stopping him. And he was able to work the cross. So Derby have got plenty of bodies in the box here as they want to try and make use of the wonderful Conor Hurahan's cross, which isn't as wonderful as we're used to seeing, cleared at the near post by number 7, Joe Powell. And Derby go back all the way to their goalkeeper as they were being pressed quickly there by Kieran Gilligan for Burton Albion. So they've gone back to their goalkeeper on the edge of the 18-yard box, Josh Vickers, who was at Arsenal for 5 years himself. in the early days of his career from 2010 to 2015, and now he's at Derby County. As again, they've gone to the right back, Kane Wilson, on the far side, halfway line. He's looking down that right-hand side, and he will find Mendes Lang, who's just come over to the opposite flank. 1-2 with Conor Hourihane. He tries to go down the line towards Wilson, but players pull back there as that was James Collins, as he released the ball there for Derby. He was just brought down a little bit late. Referee tried to play the advantage, but he's pulled it back there. Yeah, tried the 1-2. Well, I say tried it. Did get the Mendes Lang 1-2 off, but was just caught late there eventually by Sweeney. For Burton, so it will be a Derby free kick just under 10 minutes in at Pride Park. We've had one attempt from Conor Hourihane, which was off target. We've not had a goalkeeping save yet as the ball's into the box from the free kick. It goes all the way through towards Erin Cashin at the far post, who couldn't quite take it under control. And it rolls through for a Burton Albion goal kick. Mendes Lang put the ball in with quite a bit of pace and a lot of whip, and it came off the head, I think, of Wilson. Yeah, Wilson got a head to it, and it just went in front of Cashin, who couldn't quite bring it down in the end. And a Burton goal kick. Who do you want to win? I haven't got a preference, in all honesty. I don't mind. I think it'd be nice to see Burton win. It's a little bit of an upset, but don't really have a favourite here. Just hopefully we get a good level game of football here in League One as Barkhuizen for Derby can't get away from Powell on the far side. Burton try and play out from the back here. We've got Powell facing up his own goal. He tries to play the pass backwards. It deflects off James Collins, Derby's number 9, and it will be a throw-in for Burton on that far side, as they have made just the 2 changes from their last league lineup. Derby against Fleetwood, and also that's the same for Burton. They've just made their 2 changes from their last result, which was a 1-1 draw at home to Wycombe. Hughes and Camwa are out, and they've brought in Caprice and Gilligan into the starting 11. As Burton Albion on the far side just won a free kick here. I think there was a push in the back as a throw-in was taken just inside the Derby half. It'll be Sam Sweeney to put it into the Derby half. He's going to switch it out diagonally towards the right-hand side, where it's headed away by Elder, but straight to Caprice for Burton, who goes down the line to Oshalija, who's towards the corner flag. He turns Mendes Lang and puts a low cross into the near post, which has been cut out, and it'll be cleared eventually by Mendes Lang. Kept alive by Collins, but all as far as Caprice for Burton, who's got plenty of Derby players around him, and he runs out of pitch on the near side. And that'll be a Derby throw-in in their left-back position. Unlucky there. Number 22, Jake Caprice. For Burton, signed on a free from Exeter in the summer. Was just surrounded by Derby shirts there. The experienced 31-year-old wing-back. It's Cashin, switches out to the right-hand side. It's a lovely ball, finds Kane Wilson in a lot of space here in his fluorescent pink boots. And he goes to the right winger. It's actually Max Bird, who's just drifted out to the right-hand side. He's been forced backwards through the press of Burton Albion, and he's with goalkeeper Vickers, and then out to the left-back, number 20, Callum Elder, who was born in Sydney, and he's given a loose ball away. Lubala, edge of the area for Burton, shoots, deflects off Cashin, back into the path of Lubala, who right on the corner flag on the far side, has got Kane Wilson on his back, and he's able to get the pass off backwards, and then forward by Burton Albion. This is good play here. Cross into the area, header away by Nelson for Derby. Mendes Lang tries to help it on, but it's picked up by Gilligan for Burton. And a bit of a spell here for the away side in the opposition half until they give it away eventually. That's a poor ball, that, I think, there by, Jasper Moon, looking into the 18-yard box, but no Burton player had made the run into the area, so straight through to the goalkeeper. Who is your favourite team? Mine is Liverpool, but I'm from Burton. I don't disclose. I do support a Premier League team, but I don't disclose it just in case I commentate on them and people want to point fingers of any bias. When I've commentated on them loads and my bias never comes through because I just don't let it. But I do support my more local team. I say local, we're pretty close where the 2 teams I support to where I live. But Stockport County from League 2 is the team that I go and see, season ticket holder. League 2, hopefully we'll be in League 1 soon, playing Burton next season. That would be nice. There's an offside flag there on the edge of the 18-yard box of Burton's gone up on Tyrese John Jules there. Like I said, on loan from Arsenal. It's not quite worked for him, his loan spell. He's got the 1 league goal in a 1-0 win against Port Vale in late November, but this is only his second start in League One. His last one came in the last game against Fleetwood, so obviously Paul Warne has seen something in Tyrese John Jules to get him in the starting 11 in the last couple of games. So free kick on the edge of the area for Max Crocombe to take for Burton. It's down the left-hand side. It's a high ball towards Lubala. Header won by Cashin, though, for Derby. Oshalije will head it out wide for Burton. Goes beyond Wilson and Seddon, and it'll be a Derby County throw-in. Inside their own half, they go all the way back into their defensive third here for Curtis Nelson to have the ball, and he'll find the goalkeeper, Vickers. Then out to the left-back, Callum Elder, as I was mentioning before. Born in Sydney, he is an Australian international. Played the one time for them. Came off the bench in September 2021 against China. But you can say he's played for his country, which is always a fantastic achievement for any professional footballer. There's a great ball forward there by Kane Wilson. Finds John Jules. It's now into the number 7, Bark Hazen. Now on the halfway line with Elder. Or Burton Albion plays currently behind the ball as it goes furthest left to Mendes Lang. Around the corner for the run of Elder. Fantastic play for Derby. Final third. Can Elder work across? Tries to get away from Caprice, but he's been brought down by the wing back. And that'll be a free kick for Derby. Fainted to go one way there, Elder. Then went back the other, try and go forward. Nice bit of skill that. Sent Caprice because he'd read the movement of going that way, and then as he tried to go back the other, Caprice had to just bring him down in the end. Got nowhere near the ball, and it's a Derby free kick. Well won there by Callum Elder. Good start for the Derby fullbacks. They've both been a danger and a threat when going forward. Wilson on the right and Elder on the left. So we'll be that left-footed wonder of Conor Hurahan to take this free kick. So I just dropped the phone. As Derby have flooded the 18-yard box, Hurahan swings across and it's header won at the near post. And it's over the bar by Curtis Nelson. That's the biggest chance of the game so far. 16 minutes in. And looking back at that, I think Curtis Nelson will think he should have scored. It's a really good curling ball in by Hurahan, getting it beyond the wall of Bennett. And Curtis Nelson got up above Joe Powell in the 6-yard area, and as he tried to head it in at the near post, it's just gone over the crossbar. And that's unfortunate for Curtis Nelson, who's played all the minutes so far this season in League One. He's got 2 goals as well against Cheltenham and Wigan. He should have made that his 3rd goal of the season. He heads forward the goal kick, lost by Bark Hazen, who then wins it back off Joe Powell. And that was taken over here on the right-hand side by Bird, who's got options to his left. He finds John Jules on the edge of the area, twisting and turning, looking out towards the Derby right, and he brings Kane Wilson into play, who will cross it early. It's got height, and it's headed away by Sweeney for Burton. Picked back up here by Cashin, midway inside the Burton half, and he'll go back to the halfway line to Nelson. It's now with the right back, Wilson, down the line for John Jules, who can't quite play the ball into Bark Hazen. And that'll be a throw-in for Burton inside their own half. Nice. Like I ever seen to give for Burton. Yeah, it's great. I love the lower league football. I prefer it than the Premier League football going anyway. I just think it's a better experience. I've been going Stockport County now, started 2019, so coming into 5 years now. And when I started supporting Stockport County, we were in the 6th tier. So yeah, we've come on a few divisions since I started going, which is nice. Is on the halfway line there, Callum Elder tried to clear a ball away. He got the ball away first, and then he was taken down by Bennett. And I think the referee's just going to allow Mason Bennett to get away with this one. I think he's just going to have a talking to the forward just to let him know that he just needs to relax with his challenges. That was quite an aggressive one on Callum Elder. Hello everyone who is here. If you could like and subscribe, that would really help the channel out. We cover all sorts of leagues. We're trying to cover all the leagues possible. We're covering the National League. On the weekend, we're doing Barnet, Chesterfield. So we cover all kinds of leagues. So make sure you like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. As like I say, Derby have won that free kick on the halfway line. They are going to play this one long with Hurahan stood over it. They're just going to lift it into the area here. Cashin can't flick it on. It'll drop to the edge of the area to Kane Wilson, who's been forced out wide to the right-hand side here. 1-on-1 with Seddon. Wilson on the outside. He wants to work a cross in, which he does very nicely, headed away by Sweeney. And he goes straight out of play for a corner on the far side. He's been equal to the majority of the crosses so far, Sam Sweeney. that have been put in by Wilson. He's headed away a lot of them so far, and it does mean that Derby will continue to get corners, which again, this time they've gone short, and they are dangerous with corners through Hurahan, but Mendes-Lang's the one to put the cross in this time, headed away to the near post, and then back out to Hurahan. On the angle, will curl it in towards Cashin. Important header by Brayford, and then a foul on the edge of the box there on their number 4, Deji Oshalija, and that'll be a free kick for Burton. An important header, though, in the box by captain John Brayford, 36 years old, making his 300th appearance for Burton. But on the angle, Hurahan with a very delicious left-footed ball in, and if Brayford didn't get that header away on the edge of the 6-yard box, Cashin looked like he had pretty much a free header, so it was important for John Brayford to get to that ball. You can make it in League One. I hope so. We should be getting promoted from League Two, and I'd like to think we could stay in the division if we were to go up, so that would be brilliant. As from that Burton free kick, Caprice can't win the header, but he will drop in the end here to Powell. Over the top it goes towards Bennett, who towards the corner flag on the near side will keep this in. He's got Cashin facing him up 1-on-1, who will prod the ball away, but it will only go as far as a Burton throw in, and I think they're going to get ready for a long one. Yep, Jasper Moon coming over, the number 12 at the back, centre half, joined on a permanent this summer from Barnsley after spending the second half of last season on loan here at Burton. So it looks like they're going to throw this one into the 18-yard box. Burton haven't really tested Josh Vickers in the Derby goal, but they're going to put this throw in into the area. And before that happens, the referee, Ben Toner, is just going to have a word with a couple of the players in the area just to make sure that no fouls are committed during the taking of the throw-in. And Moon will put the ball into the near post. A big header one by Nelson, and it will be seen through for another throw-in. So we'll just get the exact same passage of play here. It's going to be another long throw-in. It'll go towards the near post, towards Brayford. Goes over his head, and Nelson meets it again with another header. Back out to Moon, who this time will have to put it in with a cross with his right boot, which is blocked by John Jules, and it'll be another throw-in for Burton once again. Are they going to go for another long one? Yeah, they will. It'll be their third long throw-in in quick succession. And it goes by Moon towards Sweeney. Header one at the near post by Derby man, helped on by Bart Hazen. Powell's chasing after it, and he will keep it away from John Jules, but he kicks out towards the Derby right, and it'll be latched onto by Mendes-Lang, who's away here in the box for Derby. Can he strike it? He can, but it's well saved by Crocombe. He's still alive in the area. Eldershoot saved by the feet of Crocombe again, and another shot for Derby in the box by Collins. Doesn't meet it sweetly, and it goes right over the crossbar, and that's another big chance for Derby. The counter-attack was on. Powell did well to keep the ball away from John Jules for the moment, and then actually it was John Jules who just kicked the ball away from the feet of Powell, and it fell nicely for Mendes-Lang, who just charged forward with the ball. He was too quick for any of the Burton defenders, so he had a free run at it, Mendes-Lang, and as he entered the box after being chased down by Gilligan and Powell, he shot towards the far post, didn't quite catch it, Mendes-Lang. It was an easy save really with for Crocombe with his feet, and then the second one through Elder with his feet again. That was a much more difficult save. That was hit with a lot more pace, and Max Crocombe keeping Burton in the game again as they've got it out to the right hand side. It's Caprice as Burton are looking dangerous here, trying to attack with some pace. Caprice into the final third on his right foot. He's going to cross it. It's got height on it, and it's dropped by the goalkeeper Vickers and then recollected, and then he'll kick it quickly out of his hands deep into the Burton half, where it'll be Brayford to win the header. And he'll be chested down here by Oshalija. Great touch, but then he shows too much of it to Collins. And now he's got it on the left-hand side. Derby's turn to attack. Collins over the top towards Bird in the area. Can't quite go through towards him, and it's been seen out for a goal kick there by John Brayford. And that'll be a Burton ball. So we've got, presuming we've got a Derby fan in the chat there, as he's put it 4 times. Derby have had the better chances, but I don't think Burton have looked out of place. I think they've shown themselves to be a decent little side so far. I think you can definitely tell that Derby have got the higher quality squad and players, but doesn't mean that Burton aren't, trying their best to try and match Derby's best possible. It's ball forward there by Powell, controlled by Nelson at the back for Derby. Out to the right wing here to Mendes-Lang. Tries to go inside for John Jules, cut out, and then Sweeney goes back to Crocombe. It's a bouncing ball, and he'll volley it away first time. As Collins was closing him down, headed away by Cashin in the centre circle. Back forward by Oshalaja, who can't quite get the return there off Bennett. And now Derby are away. Bird out to the left. Barkhazen enters the box, wants to get onto his right foot, but he can't. Good tackle there by Moon, and then the clearance from Caprice. Gets it away, but he was caught as he cleared it, and that would be a free kick for Burton on the edge of the 18-yard box. Again, bad giveaway there from Bennett in the centre circle, being pressured from behind by Cashin, and the ball eventually fell to Bird, who played it through for Barkhazen, who wanted to get onto his right foot there. Derby's number 7, but he was well read there by Moon, as Tom Barkhazen did score in Derby's last game in their 3-1 win at Fleetwood. But Derby have had 6 shots, 2 on target. Burton have had just the 1 strike, and that was off target. But they have stopped Derby taking a lead at the moment, as Caprice on the right wing back position plays it down the line for Lubala. Tries to turn Cash in, tackle by the Irishman, and that'll be a throw in again in the final third here for Burton. So it looks like they might try another long throw through Jasper Moon. And it will be another long throw-in. It's a great weapon to have. It just causes chaos and confusion a lot of the time when they're done correctly. So Burton with the throw-in, in it goes again near post, and again the header away by Nelson, straight back to Moon, the original throw-in taker. Finds Powell on the angle on the right hand side, plays it back into Moon. 15 yards backwards, pass to Caprice, launches it into the box towards the far post, where the header's been won by Kane Wilson for Derby, and it'll drop out to the far side to Mendes-Lang, who was looking up for the pass, and he goes down the line here for Kane Wilson, but he runs out of pitch with the pass. Poor ball in the end by Mendes-Lang. He's usually better qualities than that. Just played it behind Kane Wilson, and the ball went out eventually for a throw-in for Burton, still inside the Derby half. They've only lost one of their last 10 in the league, Derby. That includes 8 wins in those 10. So they've had a fantastic December and January, and it meant that Paul Warne actually won Manager of the Month in December after 4 wins and a draw in the month of December altogether. As a good tackle there from Cashin in the 18-yard box on the Burton left. Clears the ball out for a throw-in. Seems like he's been busy today, Erin Cashin at the back for Derby. I feel like I've said his name the most so far. As they're going to have another long throw-in, but this time it is on the opposite side, so it's on the far side, so it's on the Burton left. All the other long throw-ins have been on the right-hand side, so switching up the sides of the long throw. It is almost like a corner, this, the way they can deliver it with such pace from a throw-in. This is a looper, though. It stands in the air. Header again won by Nelson to the edge of the box, where it's headed out wide by Powell to Moon, who can't avoid the ball going out of play. Thrown for Derby County. Will they try and take it quickly? No, I don't think they will. I think they'll just slow the play down, and they'll allow right back Kane Wilson to take the throw-in, and he throws it backwards into the defensive third for Derby to number 35, Curtis Nelson. We'll go out to the right now to Kane Wilson at right back, still inside the Derby half. On the far side, he curls the ball inside to the centre of the pitch, looks for Collins, who's chested touch backwards, can't find Bird. Powell for Burton instead, tries a 1-2 with Bennett, but he's running back there, Bird. Good interception from the 1-2, and it'll be now Vickers to clear for Derby. Down the right hand side, flicked on really well by John Jules, straight to Mendes-Lang, who's getting his head up. He'll go for an early cross, it's a low one, and it'll find the man at the back post. And Barkhazen gets 2-2 for Derby, scoring in their last game against Fleetwood, and he scored again tonight against Burton. Mendes-Lang provides the assist. Barkhazen brings the goal to put Derby 1 up. Well worked down the right-hand side. The most important part of that play was the flick on from John Jules. It was a high ball forward by the goalkeeper, and just inside the Burton half, John Jules won the flick on ahead of Sweeney, and Mendes-Lang just outside the area put a ball across towards the far post, where Barkhazen made sure he stayed in front of Caprice to get that ball into the back of the net. It just went beyond Crocombe, who tried to meet the cross. Couldn't get a cross quick enough himself to block the shot, which was eventually placed into the net by Barkhazen. And at Pride Park here, just under half an hour in, after a pretty dominant start, it is Derby County 1, Burton Albion 0. Good assist there from Mendes-Lang. What I liked about Mendes-Lang then, as soon as he saw the ball go into his path through the flick on from John Jules, he was constantly getting his head up, looking to see if the cross was on. And when he knew the cross was available for Barkhazen at the far post, he got it through and across with the right amount of pace, and it was a good finish in the end by the Derby County winger, who gets his 4th goal of the season. All 4 of those goals have come in his last 8 games now in the league. So, in a bit of goal-scoring form, the former Preston North End winger. Burton have got a free kick here, just inside their own half on the left-hand side. I think they're going to launch this forward into the Derby half through Sam Sweeney. He'll put it across the right-hand side. Caprice flicks it on. It'll be controlled here by Seddon in a right wing position, the left wing back. Tries to get it onto his left foot and he keeps it. Back to Caprice it goes. Now, Oshalijah forward towards the edge of the box where it's cut out by Max Bird and cleared with a slice by Elder. In the air it goes. Can't be controlled by a Burton player. Cleared forward by Nelson. Flipped by Collins. Now Hurahan into the path of Barkhazen, who will get there first. Ahead of Oshalijah. He's got Collins in the area. He's going to aim for him. It's just ahead of him. And he'll go right through to the opposite side to Mendes-Lang, who's one-on-one with Gilligan. On his right foot. Can he work across towards the byline? He tries to enter the area, but it'll be seen through by Gilligan. That's good defending from the Burton Albion midfielder on his 50th appearance for the club. And it'll be a Burton Albion goal kick. Unfortunate there from Mendes-Lang. Trying to use his quick feet and his strength to get around Gilligan, but couldn't quite get it off in the end. There is Paul Warren in conversation with his coaches and his assistants that he's got. Likes of Richie Barker, his assistant, and another coach there for him is Matt Hamshaw. And for new head coach Martin Patterson at Burton, he's brought in the likes of John Dreyer as his assistant and a coach of Gary Mills, who was at the club before Martin Patterson. He was caretaker while they found a new head coach. Burton Albion throw, midway side the Derby half, down the line, header won by Kane Wilson, inside towards Hurahan, who heads it back out to the right to Kane Wilson. He's got Seddon on his back, Wilson facing his own goal, trying to turn to look forward, he can't quite get the pass off to Nelson, won back by Burton for Seddon. Gilligan loses out and then tries to win it back off Nelson, which he does do very well. Gilligan on the ball, using his body to keep it away from Nelson. He's brought down eventually, and that should be a free kick, and it will be. You know, it's a bit of a mismatch there, because Kieran Gilligan's only 5'10", and he's not got a lot of build to him. He's not the most powerful central midfielder, and he was coming up against Curtis Nelson, who's plus 6 foot, got quite a bit of muscle to him. So the way he was able to use his body backing into Nelson to keep the ball away from him and then not buy the free kick, because he won it, to be fair. He wasn't looking for the free kick, he was just brought down from behind. And this is a great opportunity for Burton Albion to get the ball in the box now. Like I said, they still haven't tested Josh Vickers yet, as Burton have only been able to have one shot and it wasn't even on target. So it'll be a left-footed cross here for Burton Albion. In it goes by Powell, straight into a punch away from Vickers. Probably could have caught that, but he went for the punch, and it's now back on the halfway line with Caprice. Switches it out to the left towards Seddon, who tries to control it over his head, but it gets away from him to Mendes-Lang, who goes inside to Hurahan. Out to the right back, Kane Wilson. High ball forward, looking for Max Bird, who heads it on. Can't find John Jules. Volleyed away by Oshalijah. Labala can't bring it down. Hurahan takes it away and goes back to his goalkeeper Vickers, who will slam it away first time. And can't keep it in play. Straight out for a throw-in for Burton Albion, who are playing their 35th game of the season, Burton Albion. They lost in the FA Cup first round to Port Vale after drawing 0-0 in the first game, and then the replay was a 2-0 home defeat, and then they were also beaten at home in the League Cup first round to Leicester City. And for Derby, this is game number 34, so just one game off for how many Burton have played, as the flick on there from Seddon is dealt with by Cashin in the 18-yard box, headed back forward by Sweeney, then headed backwards by Gilligan to Brayford to keep the ball for Burton on halfway. It's now with Moon, forward into the midfield to Oshalijah, works out to the right to Caprice, 10 yards inside the Derby half. He'll sprint forward here. He has got Barkhazen following him. The heavy touch from Caprice allows the challenge from Elder, but it's touched out of play for a throw-in in the final third, so I think Burton wanted to go for the long throw, but instead they've gone backwards to the usual throw-in taker of Jasper Moon. It's now on the halfway line to Brayford. Kills it around the corner, down the right-hand side, headed away by Elder, but the ball's gone inside to Bennett. So Burton will continue their attack in the final third with an early cross into the box, chested out of the area by Lubala, who gets the return from Bennett. Lubala on the ball. Back into Caprice on this near side. He's got Jasper Moon overlapping. Caprice will put the ball in himself, or he'll try to, but it's deflected off a Derby player. And now drops to Mendes Lang, who's then been fouled midway side zone half there by Kieran Gilligan. And that'll be a free kick for Derby County. And the referee there, Ben Toner, who this season has refereed in League 1, League 2, the FA Cup, EFL Trophy and League Cup. So he is a very well experienced Football League referee, Ben Toner. Not quite made it into the Premier League yet, though, this season. That's 10 minutes before half-time. Callum Elder on this near side goes down the line to Barkhazen. His pass towards Collins is cut out by Powell. And then Collins goes over the challenge of Osh Elijah. And that'll be a free kick the other way. And Burton's took it quickly down the right-hand side here. So Labala inside to Caprice towards the byline. Keeps the ball away from Elder. Caprice still has it. Osh Elijah's in support in front of him. Doesn't use him. He wants to try and get the crossing himself, which he'll put in towards the near post. He must take a nick. And I think it does. And it'll be a corner kick for Burton on this near side. Elder blocked the Caprice cross. And it nearly sneaked in towards the near post, but Vickers had it covered in the Derby goal. As we are still waiting for the first Port Vale shot on target. They've only had one shot in the entire game so far. As in three previous attempts, Burton have never won here at Pride Park. They have drawn once in February 2017, and they'll be looking to get a draw tonight. That would be a fantastic result, as it'll be a left-footed in-swinger from Powell, right onto the goalkeeper and right onto the roof of the net. Might even have nicked the bar there. And he goes out for a goal kick. Got decent curl on that, Joe Powell. May have been a foul on the goalkeeper because he was being, I think for me, obstructed there by Labala. So straight out for a goal kick. But like I said, I think that would have been a free kick there. Labala backing into Vickers, the Derby goalkeeper. High ball forward for Derby, down the left channel, headed away by Moon. Towards Osh Elijah in the midfield, who keeps it away from Hurahan with a header, but then headed forward by Elder on halfway for Derby. Out to the left to Barkhazen. Dummies the ball, so it drops to Collins in the left wing position. Back to Hurahan. Can't scoop it forward. It deflects off a Burton player. And that'll be a Derby County throw-in just in front of the halfway line on this near side. For number 20, Callum Elder to take. But for Burton, they have got 5 points off the top half of the table. If they were to win tonight, they'd obviously go to 2 points off the top half of the table. But Derby County away is a very difficult place to come and get 3 points, because Derby County have only lost here 3 times in the league. To Wigan in the first game of the season. Then their second home game was also a defeat to Oxford. And then they were beaten to Peterborough in their last home game on New Year's Day. Burton are the team coming ahead. Labala's poor touch allows Cashin to head away. Now worked out to Mendes Lang on the right by John Jules. Passes the halfway line here, Mendes Lang. He's got Powell following him. As Mendes Lang is going to do a step over and he can't get away from Powell. Really good tackle from the Burton Albion midfielder, who plays it forward here to Bennett, met by a great crunchy challenge from Nelson, as the foul eventually goes against it. Seddon, as Curtis Nelson won the ball very fairly there on Bennett. Burton's number 3, Steve Seddon, decided to put his own strong challenge in on Nelson. Like I say, Nelson's tackle couldn't be any cleaner, and then Seddon tried to do the same on Nelson, and he caught him late there. That's a bit of a nasty one, that, from Steve Seddon on Curtis Nelson. I think he'll go unpunished. I don't think he'll be booked, but I think a different referee gives the yellow card for that. But it will be a Derby free kick on the halfway line, nevertheless. Derby wanted to take it quickly, but the referee was just having a conversation there with number 35, Curtis Nelson, for Derby County. I think the referee's just explaining his decision to the Derby central defender, as we are 6 minutes before we've played the first 45. So Hurahan, ball back on the floor as we're going to have a second take of this Derby free kick. He lifts it, Hurahan, into the box towards Nelson. Not flicked on by Nelson, instead Seddon, who goes out to the left-hand side to Cashin, who loses out to Osh Elijah, whose clearance deflects off Cashin and out for a goal kick for Burton Albion. Nothing coming of that free kick for Derby County. And there is Paul Warne, their head coach, 50 years of age. Paul Warne, he's won promotion through the playoffs in League One once before in the 2017-2018 season at Rotherham, and he's also won the FL Trophy with Rotherham a couple of seasons ago. As Burton have the ball in the halfway line with Powell dispossessed by Barkhazen. John Jules now has it out to the left to Collins, who's again drifted to a left wing position. Wants a 1-2 with Mendes-Lang, can't complete it. Mendes-Lang, but backheels it into Hurahan on the left-hand side. Crosses, well deflected away on the edge of the box there by Osh Elijah. And Hurahan wants to try and see it out for a throw-in, and he's done that well, keeping it away from Jasper Moon. There's Osh Elijah's just leaning down here. He was just struck in the face as he blocked that cross on the edge of the box. I think he just needs a moment here. Number 4, Deji Osh Elijah, who came through the Cardiff Academy, can play centre-back as well if needed. He's never won or scored against Derby in his 4 previous games against them, the 26-year-old. And Burton Albion are yet to have a touch in the Derby County 18-yard box. That's obviously where Burton have struggled this season. They've only scored 21 goals all season, Burton, conceding 35. Just the 3 away clean sheets this season. For Burton, against Wycombe, Reading and Lincoln. As we're back underway, I think Osh Elijah will be fine to continue. And it's with right back Kane Wilson in the defensive third for Derby. Back to the goalkeeper Vickers in the 18-yard box. Closed down by Labala. Clears it down the Derby right. Mendes-Lang with a flick on this time towards Collins. Header away by Sweeney. Controlled by Powell on the halfway line. Loses it to Bird. 1-2 with Barkhazen. Just loose, and Osh Elijah picks it up. And it goes up towards Bennett, who can control it and keep it away from Nelson. It's now Seddon for Burton. Back down the line to Bennett, midway side the Derby half. Running at Kane Wilson on the outside of the right back. And he gets a crossing towards Labala. Cut out by Cashin. Ball still alive in the box. Controlled by Seddon. He's got his back to goal. Tries to turn forward. He goes down under the challenger Nelson. Nothing done by the referee. And it'll be Derby to come away with the ball. Down the right-hand side. Mendes-Lang. Across the pitch to Collins in a striker position. Back to the halfway line to Hurahan. Into the space for attacking full-back Callum Elder, who just slows the game down, going to his right to Hurahan. Back out to the left to Elder in the final third. Not got the angle or the body shape for a cross, and Hurahan tried to go back into Elder. Elder had made a run forward down the line, and Hurahan just played it behind him, so it rolls out of play for a throw-in in the end. Throw-in for Burton in a right-back area. It'll be a long throw-in down the line by Jasper Moon. Up towards the halfway line. That's a massive throw. Headed forward by Derby through Elder. Drops in the centre circle for Max Bird. Out to the right-hand side to Kane Wilson. In the final third himself, the right-back. He wants to cross. He's got Seddon following him. He does cross. He gets beyond Seddon, but he just miscues the cross. Hits the roof of the net. And it'll be another goal kick for Burton Albion for Max Crocombe to take. Just the one win, though, in the last 3 at home in the league for Derby County. Their win came against Lincoln on the 21st of December. Then they've drawn on the 16th of December against Wycombe. And then were defeated on New Year's Day at home to Peterborough, who are currently second in the table with 52 points. Got 2 tricky away games, Derby coming up against Lincoln and Reading. Obviously, we know what's going on with Reading at the moment. Their pitch invasion at the weekend, having the game abandoned, which is good to see. Fans having to take it into their own hands again because the EFL do nothing to save clubs. As it's Burton to have the ball here on the halfway line with Lubala, their striker, number 15. He's barely been in the game. The man signed from Blackpool in the summer. They've gone all the way back to Crocombe, the goalkeeper, who sends it forward. It's a long ball out towards the left-hand side. It's allowed to bounce, and a second time, and a third, and eventually Lubala loses out to Wilson, but then lifted out by Gilligan to Seddon at left wing-back, who can find the run forward by Lubala. Turns away from Hurahan. Down the line he goes, runs out of pitch, heavy touch. It's a bit too much for him to catch, and it'll be a goal kick for Derby. Like I say, for Bez Lubala, just a little bit too heavy, that touch. He missed the reverse fixture. He was out of that game. Don't think he'd joined Burton yet. He joined on deadline day in September. But he's got 5 goals for Burton Albion in the league. 2 in his last 3. Against Shrewsbury and Wickham, he scored a brace in a 4-1 win against Bristol Rovers in October. But they need to get him in the game a lot more if they want to get something from this Burton Albion. So we've hit the 45th minute here. There'll be 1 minute added on. There's the goal kick from Vickers. Goes straight out of play for a throw for Burton. On the near side, just in front of the technical areas here at Pride Park. Jasper Moon with another long throw-in. Headed away by Cash into Mendes-Lang in the left wing position. Goes to Hurahan. Just volleys the ball forward. Headed away by Sweeney. Out to the Burton right. Bennett flicks on. Drops for Cashin, who clears it long for Derby. Up towards Collins, who gets the touch ahead of Brayford. And turns away from Powell. And plays it out to the left to John Jules. That was good forward play there from Collins. John Jules in the left wing position. Just gets the ball stuck under his feet. And the last touch of his goes out for a throw-in for Burton Albion. After a really good touch there and control by James Collins. He's probably a little bit annoyed. Nothing came of that through Tyrese John Jules. So another long throwing down the line by Jasper Mood. Flicked inside by a Derby man. But that'll be that for the first half here at Pride Park. It is Derby County 1, Burton Albion 0. It's been all Derby County with the possession. They've had 65% of the ball. They've had 7 shots. 3 on target, and one of those 3 went in the back of the net. A long ball forward from goalkeeper Josh Vickers, which flicked on just inside the Burton half by John Jules. Found the run of Mendes-Lang, and on the far side, just outside the 18-yard box, he put a ball all the way through towards the far post, where meeting it was Tom Barkhuizen, who gets his 4th league goal of the season, all in his last 8 games in the division. And he was able to slide it into an empty goal as Max Crocombe couldn't quite get across in time to save the shot. And that was on the 29th minute. And Burton have struggled to really get forward in the final third. They've had 1 shot, which was off target. They've not had a touch yet in Derby's penalty area. And they have only managed to have 35% of the ball. And in their first game, under their new head coach, Martin Patterson, I don't think he'll be disappointed. They've battled well in the midfield, and for the majority, they have defended quite well. They've only been cut open once through the long ball forward by Vickers and the flick on by John Jules. But I think, on the whole, if you take away the final third aspect, I think Martin Patterson and Burton will be okay with their performance against, obviously, a very good, strong Derby County side. And at half-time here, it is Derby County 1, Burton Albion 0. So it is half-time at the moment. Thanks to everyone who's here. If you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic. We've got another commentary coming on Wednesday night where Blackpool take on Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup third round replay after that one finished 2-2 at the City Ground. And then on Saturday we have got Barnet taking on top of the table Chesterfield in the National League, and on Sunday we have got Chelsea women taking on Manchester United women. So we have got 3 more commentaries coming this week. Obviously 4 if you include tonight's. And if you are enjoying tonight's commentary, make sure you do like and subscribe before you go. And if you do go, make sure you come back for the second half. But yeah, it's hard to explain because obviously you look at the stats for Burton. They've had 1 shot, wasn't on target, and they've only had 35% of the ball. But against a team like Derby, who are so strong in this division, I think they've really battled well in the midfield. Dealing with the likes of Hurahan and Bird, who are obviously 2 high-quality midfielders. I think Oshalaja, Gilligan and Powell have done a decent job. Obviously, they've just been cut open once, really. and that was, to be fair, a really good attack by Derby. Just changing it up. The goalkeeper went long, flicked on well by John Jules, and then Mendes Lang had the vision to find Barkhazen at the far post, who had to tap it in from the 6-yard area. So Derby, and I said that during the game, you can just tell that Derby have the higher quality team and players, and obviously Burton Albion will know that, but it's taken advantage of having the better players, and that's what Derby County have done in that first half, as they are currently at the moment leading against their local rivals. I was reading it before the game, and if there's any Derby or Burton fans here, you can tell me more about it, but I don't believe there's much of a rivalry. It's just more you're just very local to each other. I don't think there's that much animosity between the two fan bases, but I could be wrong. But I will be back in a minute. I'm just going to get another drink, so don't go anywhere. I'll be back, and we can have a discussion about anything League One or football in general. So yeah, I'm just going to go and get a drink. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back just in a minute's time. Right, we are back. They're going to show some of the highlights as well from that first half. I know Derby could have had an earlier lead with a Curtis Nelson header at the near post from a corner, which was swung in nice. I think it was a free kick actually from Hurahan. But Burton haven't really been able to do anything. Burton have just had long throw-ins really, which have gone into the area of Derby, but none of the Burton players have actually been able to touch the ball. Mendes Lang did come close as well on the counter-attack in the 23rd minute. His shot was saved by Crocombe with his foot, and then he saved another one with his foot from Elder, and eventually the shot from Collins went over the crossbar. That was a good counter-attacking chance from catching Burton out with from one of their long throws. Mendes Lang should have hit that better. He knows that the contact he got on that shot wasn't great. It was an easy save for Crocombe, but that second shot from Callum Elder in the 23rd minute was a much more difficult save to make. It was hit with a lot more power, and Crocombe was equal to it. 6 clean sheets in this season in League One for Burton Albion and Max Crocombe, who started the season on the bench, as Jamal Blackman, who signed on a free from Exeter, started the first 3 games, but he was substituted in the third game against Bolton, I believe it was. It wasn't Bolton, I can't remember who it was now. And then Crocombe's took over the number 1 ever since. But yeah, just before the half an hour mark, Vickers long ball forward down the Derby right channel, flicked on really well by John Jules. Mendes Lang was all alone. Seddon and Sweeney were caught out of position. It's a great ball across the box there by Mendes Lang. It's such a teasing ball. Anyone could have got on the end of that, and like I say, during the goal, Barkhazen did well just to keep in front of Caprice, and Crocombe couldn't stop the shot or the cross, and it meant Derby took a 1-goal lead. So for Derby, this win would put them, I believe, up to third. But if they score another goal, they would go into second on goal difference, level games with Peterborough, and they also have a game on Portsmouth. So Derby, if they can get a 2-goal lead tonight, they'd go second place and 1 point off Portsmouth in first with a game in hand. So Portsmouth have really let it slip. They've only won one of their last 5, Portsmouth. And Derby have really picked up the pace. Obviously, they'll be a bit frustrated with that New Year's defeat at home to Peterborough, who are above them at the moment. on goals scored, it's very tight. Portsmouth on 53, Peterborough on 52, Derby on 52, Bolton on 51 with 2 games in hand on Derby and Peterborough and 3 games in hand on Portsmouth. Obviously, very sadly, Bolton's game was abandoned at the weekend after a fan fell ill in the stands, and unfortunately, that fan is passed away. That's very upsetting to hear, but yeah, it does mean now that Bolton do have a few games in hand to catch up on, and I think the playoff race could get spicy, but I think it'll only be between a couple of teams. I mean, Blackpool are getting up there in 8th with 42 points, but Stevenage is 7th with 46 points, Barnsley are 6th with 46 points, and then Oxford are 5th with 49 points. So it could be between Oxford, Barnsley, and Stevenage for that final playoff spot. It's been a great season, hasn't it, for two of the, well, I think for all 3 of the promoted teams this season. Stevenage are 7th, Northampton are 9th, and Leyton Orient are 10th. So the teams coming up from League Two have done really well so far this season to solidify themselves in the 3rd tier of English football. Carlisle are the only team letting the League Two down at the moment. Carlisle are currently 2nd bottom, just above Fleetwood by 2 points. But I think Carlisle did a ridiculous job to get to League One in the first place. They weren't really favoured last season in League Two to get to where they did, and they did win the playoff final, unfortunately, because I was there as a Stockport County fan. Lost on penalties to Carlisle, couldn't believe it. Very upsetting. Hey, lad and chat. Yes, Barnsley, Red and White Army. We were just talking about Barnsley there, weren't we? Just slipping inside the playoff positions at the moment, Barnsley. You know, they'll definitely want to be looking back to get into the Championship as quick as possible. Barnsley, after obviously having a good season last year, getting into the final, the playoff, beating Bolton, but then absolute heartbreak against Sheffield Wednesday in that final. The pain I felt, and I've got nothing to do with Barnsley, but I even felt that one. But then obviously it's disappointing losing Michael Duff, and alongside losing Michael Duff, you obviously lost Martin Patterson as well, the new head coach of Burton. Martin Patterson was the assistant to Michael Duff at Barnsley and Swansea until obviously he wasn't assistant of Barnes anymore because Michael Duff moved on to Swansea, and then Michael Duff has now been sacked as Swansea manager as his head coach, and they've replaced him with Luke Williams, who left Notts County to go back to Swansea City. Good win against Bristol Rovers 2-1 to Barnsley. I think at this point in the season, when you're in those playoff positions, you've just got to be picking up the points. Obviously, you prefer to get 3 points than the 1, but you don't want to be really losing games at this point in the season now, because you just want to keep the momentum. You don't want to kind of get into a rut, because if you fall into a rut where you start losing, a couple of games in a row, or maybe 2 games out of 3 you lose, it just allows the other teams to have a gain on you, gain and go above you, or you let other teams come back up against you and close the gap. So it's fascinating. I think every division in the league in England this season looks very exciting in areas, with the Premier League, the title race at the moment. That's fantastic. It's about 5 teams involved. In the Championship, you've got Ipswich still just about staying up there in 2nd spot. And obviously the Championship playoffs are always fantastic. And then League One, we've got a good title race at the moment. 4 teams involved on paper at the moment with Bolton, Derby, Peterborough and Portsmouth. But, you've got your Barnsley's and your Oxfords, who are not far behind at all. And then in League Two, that's very close at the moment. Stockport County still just staying top of the league, but some great teams in League Two, like Mansfield, Notts County, Wrexham, Barrow are having a flying season. The worst away day in the Football League by far. Went with my mate last year to Barrow away from home, and wow, that is the worst away day ever. We went January. It was either late January or start of February, and it was just, it was cold. Where if you don't get a good spot in the away end, you don't see you don't see one of the goals. Like the stand they've got behind the goal blocks like a corner of a view, so you can't see one of the goals, and we got beat 1-0 that night. So yeah, definitely my worst away day. Barrow, that is a shocker. It's seriously bad. But second half here, we got. I can't read that. Hold on 1 minute. We've got a good record away more than home. That's interesting. That is very interesting because obviously in football in general, the main cliche is just win your home games or don't lose your home games, because obviously going away from home in football league is usually quite difficult. So to have a better away record than home is always I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing, because I'm sure obviously supporters would rather see the wins come at home than away. But in fairness, I don't think it should matter where you get your points from, as long as you get enough to get into the playoffs or the automatic promotion spots, whatever Barnsley aspire for this season. But the second half will be getting underway in just a minute or so time, so hopefully we get more people back in for the second half, where this game is tightly poised at 1-0, but Derby have been dominant, have been the much better side. But Burton have just been able to keep themselves involved. Like I say, they've battled well in the midfield, Burton, to keep it, to keep the game tight at 1-0, but they've just not done enough at all going forward. And that's mainly due to Derby being very strong with their back line. I think the whole back line's been really good so far tonight. I've been really impressed with their full-backs going forward, Kane Wilson and Callum Elder, and then the two centre-backs of Curtis Nelson and Erin Cashin have definitely kept Mason Bennett and especially Bez Libala quiet up front for Burton. Derby currently in the lead, but what can Burton do in this second half to change things around? Can they change things around? Will they change things around? We'll have to wait and see. Let's hope so. That'd be nice to see. Bit of a change, wouldn't it? And Burton at the moment, away from home, haven't had the greatest of records. Just 2 wins away from home in the league, against Port Vale, 3-2 in September, and then their most recent away win was against Lincoln, 1-0 on the 14th of October. So Burton haven't tasted 3 points away from home for a while. They haven't won in their last 6 away from home. But they're still in this one, just about, but they definitely need to sort their ideas out going forward, as it'll be Derby kicking left to right, Burton right to left for this second half at Pride Park. We're back underway. Cashin sending it down the Derby right-hand side. Header won by Seddon for Burton. It will drop out here for a throw-in midway inside the Burton half for Derby County and Kane Wilson to take. Came on as a late sub, Kane Wilson, in this fixture in August. But obviously starts tonight, and he completes a lovely 1-2 with Max Bird, who then gets it across to the left here to Hurahan. Elders forward from left back. Midway inside the Burton half, he goes for an early cross, which is a low one, chested away by Powell. Controlled by Osh Elijah, who hurries a clearance away in the centre of the park. Headed forward by Hurahan. Controlled by Bird. In the Burton half, he goes back into the Derby half of a ball to Curtis Nelson. And it's now Erin Cashin for Derby on the halfway line. Out to the far left-hand side here to Mendes Lang, who then goes back into the number 6, Erin Cashin, who was born in Mansfield but represents Ireland, or did it under 21s level. Hasn't quite made it in the senior team quite yet. Erin Cashin, as Kane Wilson crosses it in. It comes off the back of the heel of number 9, Collins, and then cleared for Burton up to the halfway line to Bennett. Header won by Nelson. Drops loose here to Gilligan, who goes over the top down the left-hand side. No one's chasing it for Burton. It'll be a throw-in for Derby County on this near side. Giving more instructions away there. Martin Patterson, the new head coach for Burton, just 36 years of age. The new head coach. Throw in down the line by Kane Wilson into the Burton half, headed away by Sweeney, controlled by Hurahan, back out to the right hand side to Wilson, lifts it in behind looking for John Jules, but as he was releasing the ball there, Wilson, he was brought down, so it'll be a free kick for Derby, conceded by number 3, Steve Seddon. So another chance here for Derby. Just launched his ball forward. It'll be the left foot of Hurahan right on the near side here, nearly on the white line there. So it'll be Conor Hourihane to take the free kick. Again, he'll just lift it into the box here, where it's headed on by Cashin, who will control it after it deflects off a Burton player. Now John Jules gets it across, and at the far post it's cleared away. Surprised no Derby player got on the end of that one. Hourihane heads it forward. Barkhuizen loses it here to Labala. Burton could counter-attack here if possible. They work it out to the right-hand side here to Caprice, who enters the Derby half. Caprice getting room into the final third. He's got time to cross it. In it goes towards Bennett, who heads over the bar. Looking to haunt his former club, Mason Bennett. Was once of Derby County for 10 years, but couldn't divert that header on target. But it is a touch for Burton in Derby's penalty area. Not a bad header. Well, I say it's not a bad header. It's a shocking header from Bennett. It's not a bad cross from Caprice. Probably just hanging in the air for too long, and Bennett just couldn't quite get over the ball, and it kind of came off the top of his head and over the crossbar in the end. As Burton have won it back again in the midfield through Powell, but then he's dispossessed by Bird, who's looking out to the Derby right, and he will find Barkhuizen, the current goal scorer of the only goal in the game. He's going to have time to cross it here. He dinks it towards the far post where Crocombe can parry it away. Out to the far side here to Hourihane, who's got Moon coming across to close him down. He goes back to Elder, crosses first time towards the far post. Barkhuizen with a header towards Collins, and that's the second. It's only took them 4 minutes of the second half, and James Collins scores once again against Burton Albion. It's 5-12 against tonight's opposition. He scored in the reverse fixture at the Pirelli Stadium. He's now got one at Pride Park, and Derby double their lead. Barkhuizen provided the goal for the opener, and now he's given out an assist to James Collins. He is their leading goal scorer this season, James Collins. It's 12 now in the league. 7 of them have come at home. And it was well recycled into the box there by Elder. Crossing it first time from Hourihane to the far post, where Barkhuizen just headed it back across. And there's 3 Burton defenders there, and not one of them is close enough to James Collins, who can win the header free towards the top right corner. Back across goal. So Crocombe tried to move back on himself to try and get a left hand to that ball, but it was well placed into that top right corner. Crocombe got a finger to it, couldn't keep it out. And at Pride Park, 5 minutes now into the second half. It's Derby 2, Burton 0. Good forward play there by James Collins. It's his 17th of the season in all competitions, 12 now in League One. In that 17 in all competitions, he scored a hat-trick in the EFL Trophy against the Wolves under-21 side. So he's having a fantastic season, James Collins, who was only able to score the 12 goals in all competitions last season. He's now bettered his League One tally. He only got 11 last season. He's now got 12 this season. As Burton try and get back straight away here with Gilligan. Out to the left to Seddon. That is a shocking pass into his path. Straight through towards Kane Wilson. He needs to go into his feet there, Gilligan. Not into the path. And they'll be seen out for a throw in here for Derby, right near the corner flag on the near side. So they've got some work to do to work it out of their own half. So throwing down the line, headed forward by Gilligan, out for another Derby County throw-in. Midway side of their own half here. It'll be number 35. I think Curtis Nelson will let Wilson take it. No, Nelson will throw towards the halfway line. Headed forward by Sweeney. Back forward, though, by Bird. Barkhuizen will chase it down the right-hand side. He heads it forward for Mendes-Lang, who lifts it towards the goal there. It's looping, and it's hit the roof of the net. Max Crocombe, I believe, was there in the right position to tip that one over the bar. If that was just looping into the back of the net. Just unfortunately miscued it. I think it was a cross by Mendes-Lang, but nearly went in as a shot. But like I say, hit the roof of the net there. Goal kick for Burton into the Derby half, headed down by Bennett. Elijah kicks it into the air, caught late there by Barkhuizen. And that'll be a free kick for Burton on halfway. Won by Deji. Elijah, who's making his 99th appearance in League One for Burton tonight. Joined the club on a free from Charlton in 2021. And again, even though it's on the halfway line, I think Burton will take this opportunity to try and get this in towards the 18-yard box. Lifted out towards the right-hand side. It goes behind everyone. That is a shocking ball, that. What on earth is that? That is rubbish. Just put height on it. Just kick the ball forward with height. He's kicked it somehow behind everyone and straight out for a throw-in for Derby. I mean, if I'm a Burton Albion fan, you're looking at this and you've got to think that... you've got to be thinking that you've got to be looking at bringing in some kind of creative midfielder. If you're Burton Albion, that's what they're missing. They're missing that link between the midfield and attack at the moment. Who do you follow, mate? So I follow, I follow Stockport County. I do support a Premier League team as well, but I started going Stockport County 5 years ago. It's just a lot cheaper, and I prefer it really. I prefer lower league football. I think it's a better atmosphere. What's that comment? I was blocked off. We're all Nottingham Forest. We've got a goal here. Me reading chat. That is the first time I've ever been caught out reading the chat and a goal's gone in. That is amateur rookie error there. But Burton have scored. Steve Seddon is the one who's running back to the Burton half to get this game restarted as quickly as possible. Let's have a look at a replay here. Mendes-Lang caught in possession from behind by Steve Seddon. Question marks of a foul. It wasn't given by the referee. Steve Seddon charged away. And on the edge of the box there, he's let fly and he drilled it into the bottom right corner. I think that would have been soft if a foul was given there. And Steve Seddon went on his own, let fly from the edge of the box to the far corner. And it nestles into the bottom right corner beyond Josh Vickers. Oh, that's a nice tidy goal there from Steve Seddon. Aggressive in the challenge, winning the ball back and drilling it into the bottom right corner. We've got a game on our hands here, possibly 2-1, but then Derby are in again. In the right wing, John Jules is ball to the left towards Mendes-Lang, is behind him. Cut out by Sweeney, cleared forward by the centre half, cut out there by Nelson, can't be kept in by Wilson, and it will be a throw-in for Burton. I genuinely think that is the first time I've been caught out reading chat when a goal's gone in. I'm disappointed, I'm annoyed, but we know the goal's gone in, so it's okay. But we're 10 minutes into the second half. I've had 2 goals already. Derby scored in the 49th minute through James Collins, and then Steve Seddon's just scored for Burton, pretty much all on his own. Won the ball inside the Derby half, sprinted forward about 40 yards, and then had the shot into the bottom right corner. As Derby lift it forward down the line, cut out by Brayford ahead of John Jules to go for a throw, and he wants to take it quickly. He won't because the run there from from Collins had been cut off. So deciding to keep the ball here with the throw-in. Be taken by Kane Wilson, who's making his 49th appearance tonight in League One. So nearly hitting the 50 mark. Kane Wilson in League One. Throws it here down the line to John Jules. Got Seddon on his back, but he gets it back to Wilson, who tries to go through Gilligan and Seddon. Gets sandwiched in between them both and goes down. And that'll be a free kick for Derby in the final third. On the right-hand side, good opportunity to get the ball in the box here with a cross. So it'll be Conor Hurahan to take this free kick. He's not had an assist yet tonight, but he has put dangerous crosses in. One of them at the near post was headed over the bar in the first half by Curtis Nelson. I'm sure he'll be aiming for Nelson again, as the Burton Albion defensive line is just in front of the 6-yard box. So it'll be a left-footed in-swinger from Hurahan to the near post. It's took a deflection on the way through, headed away, but still alive in the box. It's a header out to the right-hand side by Brayford, then volleyed away by Osh Elijah. Elder flicked on them once more for Burton. For Derby, eventually drops to centre half, and Nelson, who works out to the right to Hurahan, on his left foot, crosses, it's deep, it's caught by Crocombe, who's looking for a counter-attack. He's going to launch the ball forward here. Labala will chase it. Elder will get there first, but he panics, he nods it out wide, and has to clear for a throw-in. Burton have won a throw-in here deep in the Derby half on the far side. And they're going to take the time here, Burton, and they're going to put this one in the box with a long throw. I still think Burton have only had one touch in the Derby box in the game so far, and that came for a off-target header from Bennett. The shot came from on the outside of the area from Seddon, so this is a chance to try and get another shot on goal here in the box. Long throwing from Moon. Who will it be flicked on by? I think comes off a Burton player. Then overhead kick from Bennett, and not far away. Going towards the far corner there, just over the bar and wide. But I like the attempt there from Mason Bennett, looking for only his second league goal of the season. His only other league goal came against Shrewsbury in an away defeat in August. But there's no replays. That Steve Seddon foul. I say foul because it's not a foul because it wasn't given. And the Steve Seddon shot did just take a slight nick off Curtis Nelson and into that bottom right corner. But to get the ball, he went through the back of Mendes-Lang. But I just think it was aggressive defending. I just think it was good, strong, aggressive defending. I think he caught Mendes-Lang out. I don't think he was ready for that kind of challenge. And he went up the other end and put it in the back of the net. And it means Burton are still in this game, despite going 2 down 5 minutes into the second half. They've got themselves straight back in the game. And they've got possession in the Derby half here with Labala. Ball down the line, can't find Caprice. Cut out by Elder. Down the line here for Barkhazen, who has lost the ball there to Moon. And then brings down Moon from behind. And that'll be a free kick for Burton on the right-hand side. So free kick won by Jasper Moon, and it means that it will be a chance for number 7, Joe Powell, to put this ball in the box if possible. He couldn't do it last time somehow, but this time hopefully he can get some height on it, bit of direction into the box, and they can ask some questions of this Derby defence. In it goes. It's a curler. It's got pace. It's a header away by John Jules, only as far of the edge of the box to Gilligan for Burton. So they can still try and come forward if possible. Gilligan back out to the right-hand side here to Caprice. He's not got many options with him. He goes to Moon, who's closest to him. And then he puts it towards the edge of the 18-yard box with a header away there by James Collins for Derby. And it'll roll out on the near side for a Burton throw-in on halfway. It looks like Burton are going to make a double change there. I think it will be a double change. I think one of the changes will be their new signing on loan from Manchester United, and that is Joe Hugel. And I believe the other change is going to be number 17, Mark Helm, who's missed the last 8 games out with injury. We're still playing here. Seddon heads forward, headed away by Cashin on the edge of the box here for Derby. Down the line by Wilson to Barkhazen on the halfway line. Forward to John Jules. Goes over the challenger Brayford. And then eventually the free kick goes against John Jules as he handles the ball there as Brayford tried to clear down the Burton left. But we're just under half an hour to play. Will we get these Burton changes now? Yeah, we will. So number 11, Mason Bennett, coming to play his former side. He's never scored against them before, and he's not scored against them tonight, despite coming close with an overhead kick. He'll be replaced by number 44, Joe Hugel, on loan till the end of the season from Manchester United. And on his 50th Burton appearance, Kieran Gilligan will be replaced here by number 17, Mark Helm, who is also a Manchester United Academy product. And he's been out for the last 8 games of injury, but he returns tonight off the bench against Derby County. So from that left-hand side, it'll be a free kick taken by Crocombe. They're going to launch this forward deep into the Derby half. That is a huge kick. Into the box it goes. Headed down by Cashin. It drops for a Burton player. Eventually cleared by Cashin to the edge of the box. Headed into the sky by Brayford. Then volleyed away by Derby up to the halfway line where it's collected by Moon for Burton. Played back forward. Headed away by Wilson. Cleared out to the right-hand side by Bird. Controlled by Barkhazen. But it's a loose touch and it goes out for a Burton throw-in on this near side. Taken to Sweeney, midway inside the Derby half, ball forward, deflects off Barkhazen. It's definitely been a very positive last 5 minutes for Burton, because within that 5 minutes they've been able to really get some possession of the ball. Throwing goes long up towards Hugel, touches it down for Seddon. Helm keeps himself away from Mendes-Lang, goes back to Sweeney, ball forward towards Seddon, volleyed by Barkhazen in a right back position. Helped forward there by Moon towards Hugel, who goes up for it but loses out to Nelson. Then Mendes-Lang into Barkhazen, who enters the Burton half on the right-hand side, trying to go on the inside, but tackled really well by Powell, getting his foot across the body to get the ball. And it goes for a throw in for Burton. Seddon kicking the ball off Mendes-Lang. So throw in for Sam Sweeney to take. Headed away by Hurahan. Headed back forward by Powell. Just chested touch by Max Bird. Then pulled down there by Osh Elijah. And eventually the referee, Ben Toner, will get the cards out of his pockets. And that'll be a yellow card. It's the first of the game. He's been quite nice tonight, the referee, with his yellow cards. But that was a clear pull on Max Bird by Deji Osh Elijah. Didn't really give the referee much of an option there, but to book him. That's his 8th of the season. Taking the free kick out to the right-hand side to Kane Wilson, who's isolated here with Helm. Goes on the outside of him. On the byline, he's just about able to work the crossing before it goes out. He goes all the way through to the edge of the box into Mendes-Lang. Keeps the ball away from Labala. And back out to the right towards Hurahan. Everything to his left now for Kane Wilson. He wants to try and cross again. Nice bit of skill to get a bit of space to work that crossing to the far post. Headed by Cashin. Still alive. Headed away, though, in the end by Powell. And now Burton can try and counter-attack with Seddon. Forward towards Hugel, and he gets the touch in front of him. That's beautiful. The loanee from Manchester United on his debut slots it through and into the back of the net. And Burton have completed the comeback. Derby 2, Burton 2, off the bench on his debut. Joe Hugel on loan from Manchester United makes it 2-2. And who would have seen this coming? After going 2-0 down in the 49th minute, it looked like the game was only going to go one way. But Burton have brought themselves back in this game. Steve Seddon with the first one. He did that one all on his own, winning the ball off Mendes-Lang and then drilling it into the bottom right corner from the edge of the box. But that one was well worked. Fantastic ball through by Seddon. And on the halfway line, Elder couldn't quite intercept the pass. And the touch by Hugel was brilliant. Right in front of him, into the space that he had. And when I say he had space, he had the whole Derby half in front of him. No one was around him. Elder just completely misjudged the pass. Hugel went through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And as he was entering the 18-yard box, he looks like he's going to try and put the ball to the bottom right corner, but he goes across the goal instead and goes to the bottom left corner. And in his first ever senior game of football, he scores a goal. It's Derby 2, Burton 2. What a comeback and what a game we've got on our hands here. Joe Hugel, who signed on loan from Manchester United. He's never played for Manchester United senior-wise, and he's never made a loan. This is his first loan in professional football, because he spent a little bit of last season on loan at Altrincham, where he did score one goal in the National League. But in professional English top-flight football, in the top 4 leagues, he's got his first goal. And that is brilliant for Joe Hugel. But Paul Warne and Derby are going to be scratching their heads thinking, how have we let this one go? 2-2 here at Pride Park. It's just the ball from Seddon, who's scored the first. He's now assisted the second. That's a bit like Barkhuizen for Derby. He scored Derby's first and assisted their second. And it's all level. Wow. Didn't see this coming at all. Wilson goes down under the challenger Helm on this near side, and that'll be a free kick for Derby. About 10 yards inside the Burton half here. Hurahan has it. Forward to Collins, out wide right to Wilson. Got time here and space to cross it in towards John Jules, headed away by Moon. Needed to do as well because that was landing right on the right boot there of John Jules. Mendes-Lang on the left-hand side, finds John Jules on the edge of the box. Back through to Mendes-Lang, byline, puts it back for Barkhuizen. And as he shoots, it deflects wide. It's a huge block. Not quite sure who got in the way of it in the end there. But it remains 2-2. Barkhuizen trying to put Derby back in the lead. Really good 1-2 between John Jules and Mendes-Lang. And as Barkhuizen striking it, don't think he caught it well anyway. Don't think it would have gone in if the deflection hadn't been made by Steve Seddon. As the ball goes into the 6-yard box, all the way through to the back post. In the air it is. Punched by Crocombe. Volley by John Jules. Deflects back to him. He strikes a second time and over the bar it goes. Couldn't quite catch it there, John Jules, who's looking for his first goal since late November in the league. Great ball in by Hurahan, flicked on by, I think that was Powell of Burton, punched eventually by Crocombe. Then John Jules had 2 bites of the cherry and both of them didn't end up in the back of the net. But Joe Hugel, in his first ever appearance in the English Football League, he has got a goal off the bench, replacing Mason Bennett. But Derby coming again, big ball forward towards James Collins. It'll be volleyed out of play by Jasper Moon on the far side, about midway inside the Burton half here for Derby. And it'll be Mendes-Lang who will leave the throw-in for Callum Elder, who will then throw it back here to Mendes-Lang. And then back to the halfway line here to Cashin. Out to the near side here to Kane Wilson, just inside the Burton half, being closed down here by Helm. He goes back into the 2 centre-backs of Curtis Nelson. High ball forward for Derby, down the left-hand side, headed on by Elder. Looks like Mendes-Lang's coming back from an offside position there, and he was. So it'll be a free kick for Burton in a right-back area. And the short little trip they've made down here to Pride Park, looks like it's going to be one well made. As Burton currently hold Derby at 2-2. Derby are going to make a change of their own. It's going to be their first of the game. It looks like they're going to bring on number 17, Louis Sibley. As Cashin heads away for Derby. Helped on, but then headed away by Powell. Dealt with by Cashin. Bird headed to Wilson. His clearance deflects back out to the left-back area to Elder. Being closed down here by Hugel. He's able to clear it, but it's been brought down by Elijah in the Derby half. There's no way Burton could maybe get back into this game and get ahead. Can't quite do so now because Caprice has dribbled it out of play. It will be a change for Derby. So Louis Sibley, former England under-20 international, will come on. And he will be replaced number 17. And that will be... replace number 20, sorry. He is number 17. So he will replace Callum Elder, who was at fault for that second goal, letting the ball through to Joe Hugel. And it does say, and I've written it down on my notes here, that Louis Sibley can play at left-back. So that's, I'm presuming, where he'll go, even though he's usually a central midfielder. I'm presuming he'll cover at left-back here, Louis Sibley. To Derby on the ball, in their 18-yard box. Switch out to the right by Cashin to Wilson at right-back. Forward to Max Bird. Gets away from Powell. And plays out to the left here to Hurahan. Now into the Burton half we go. To now new left-back Sibley. Keeps it in the Derby half now with Hurahan. It's now across to Cashin. Ball out to the right to Kane Wilson. He's got the option to his left of Barkhuizen. He's been tackled there by Helm. He'll be throwing for Derby to be taken by Kane Wilson. He's waiting for a little bit of movement here. Throws it forward. Looking for Bird. Pokes out to the right to Barkhuizen. Back inside to Collins. Across the edge of the box to Hurahan, who strikes. Good block from Elijah. Falls back to Conor Hurahan. Sibley will now strike, and that's blocked by Brayford. Loops out to the left-hand side towards Mendes-Lang, who touches it away from Caprice. It's now Mendes-Lang in the left wing position, keeping the ball away from Caprice and playing it back into Cashin. It's now with Nelson out to the right-hand side here to Kane Wilson in the final third. Couple of step overs, try to work a bit of space for a cross. Tackle by Helm. Throw in for Derby, taken quickly here into Barkhuizen. His touch gets away from him. Headed away there by Helm, going as far as Wilson for Derby. His heavy touch has been dispossessed by Hugo, but then he's dispossessed himself by Bird. And it'll be Derby to keep possession in the Burton half. Louis Sibley on the far side goes for an early cross. He gets it towards the far post where John Jules jumps for it, but Crocombe takes it away from him, catching it, plucking it out of the air, the New Zealand goalkeeper. Did spend 2 years playing in Australia not that long ago, Max Crocombe, for Brisbane, Roar and Melbourne. As he kicks it long here towards Labala, touch off Nelson, it'll drop into the midfield for Burton through Osh Elijah. A fantastic pass into the space here for Caprice, midway side the Derby half. On the far side, getting around Sibley. On the byline, he'll just about work across him, but it's been blocked and it'll be a corner for Burton. They've done really well to get back in this game, Burton, because I was saying when they were 2-0 down how they're just missing that creative link in the midfield. Just someone to really, cut defences apart with some passes. And to be fair, they got that through Steve Seddon, the wing-back, for the goal. Got it right in between the Derby players at the back and through for Joe Hugel, who got his first ever goal in the top 4 English leagues. Did score once last season on a little loan spell he had at Altrincham. But can they turn it all the way around and maybe get ahead here, Burton? In-swinger, left foot, it's a dangerous one. Headed into the air by Cashin. Not dealt with here by Derby. In the area for Osh Elijah. Back out to the right to Powell, who will sprint to keep it in, and he does keep it in. Right on the corner flag, he's got Sibley right next to him. Can Powell work maybe another corner? No, he can't. Dribbles it out of play. Good defending there from Sibley, just giving nowhere for Powell to move. And with 15 minutes to play, it's Derby 2, Burton 2. And Derby took a 2-0 lead in the 49th minute. James Collins heading into the top right corner. Then they were pegged back 5 minutes later through Steve Seddon into the bottom right corner. His shot was placed. And then they've lost it here, Derby. Barkhuizen went down the line. Wilson played the ball inside. It's now with Powell through to Osh Elijah. Again, feeding it into the space for Caprice at wing-back on the far side. One-on-one with Sibley. Can he work across? There's 3 plays in there for Burton. Caprice crosses. It's a high one. Helped on towards the Derby goal where Cashin leaves it for Vickers and he's able to catch it ahead of Hugel. And he'll roll it out to the left here, Vickers, for Mendes-Lang. Exactly 15 minutes left on the clock. Mendes-Lang on halfway. Inside to his right here to Bird. Back into Mendes-Lang, who slows it down. And Derby will build from the back here with Erin Cashin, who goes out to the right to Kane Wilson at right back. Finds Barkhuizen, who started the goal scoring in the 29th minute, to put Derby 1-0 up, and then he assisted the second to put them 2-0 up. But it's very promising signs under new head coach Martin Patterson here for Burton, who have been able to turn it around against 4th place Derby. Kane Wilson in the final third again, getting forward from right back. Lifts a ball into the area towards the penalty spot. Can't be controlled by Collins, volleyed away by Caprice. Brought down though by Cashin, and Derby will keep the pressure on in the Burton half. Out to the left-hand side here to Mendes-Lang. Callum Elder is overlapping. Doesn't use the run of the Australian full-back. Mendes-Lang will put a low ball in himself. Can't be controlled by Hurahan. It'll drop to Labala. Burton want a counter-attack. Not got many in front of him here. Labala, who has to end up playing it backwards and out to the right-hand side to Caprice, midway side of the Burton half, who will then slam it forward himself towards Hugel. Loses out to Cashin. Sibley volleys away from behind. And it's Mendes-Lang into Bird, and it's Derby again with the possession of the ball. Kane Wilson on the ball. Into Collins. Back into Bird. Mendes-Lang, who's just drifted inside here from a left-wing position. Back into the midfield for Max Bird. Now with Erin Cashin on the edge of the centre circle in the Burton half. He's got now Hurahan on the ball. Sibley forward from left back. In the final third, he enters the box. He plays it through for John Jules, who gets a left-footed cross in, deflects off Caprice, falls back to Jules on the corner flag. Hurahan works a ball into the box where it's been headed forward by Barkhuizen. Lacks any power, and it's an easy save for Max Crocombe. And the result here is still 2-2. Burton have never won here in a competitive fixture against Derby County. 1 draw and 2 defeats. They have beaten Derby twice, though. in August 2018 and April 2018, both at home. As Burton, with their left centre-back, Sam Sweeney, slams that away. It's a high one up towards Labala. Header won by Nelson to the halfway line towards John Jules. Loses out to Powell, who sends it into the sky. Headed forward by Seddon. Then headed away by Wilson. Up towards Mendes Lang, who loses out to Sweeney. High ball forward by Helm. Header away again by Nelson. Headed back forward by Sweeney. Helped on by Elijah. Headed into the sky by Cashin. He'll be controlled by Labala. Can't quite keep it away from Bird. And then Wilson through to Mendes Lang, who will charge down the right-hand side. He goes for an early cross towards Collins, who can't quite take under control and shoot, but there is a flag up anyway. Collins did just go early there as Mendes Lang played the ball. Good call by the assistant referee there on the near side. You could see it was quite obvious. James Collins had just gone early, looking for his second goal of the game. Tried to bend his run, Collins, but he'd still gone early for me, I think. Couldn't quite control it anyway, and then went down looking for a penalty, which would never have been given. Another change here for Burton. And it is going to be number 15, Bez Labala, their top goal scorer. He's going to stay on here. I think. Bit of confusion here. Steve Seddon's currently down at the moment. The left wing back, the scorer of the first and the assister for the second. They want to make a change here, Burton. I think they want to bring on Mustafa Carayol, who would be coming on for his 50th appearance for Burton. Yeah, Steve Seddon currently down at the moment. A player who came through at Reading to start his youth career. So I think they're just holding on the change just to see if they might have to bring off Steve Seddon, because obviously Burton have already made their 2 of their 3 changes, bringing on Mark Helm and the goal scorer for the second, Joe Hugel. So this will be their last change to make. But very annoyingly for the Burton first goal, I actually wasn't commentating on it. I was reading the chat, and I think it's the first time I've ever been caught out reading the chat and missing a goal. So I do apologise if anyone was there and didn't really get a great description live of what was happening at the time. I was just reading the chat, and I was like, and I looked up and I saw him running off celebrating. I went, oh, brilliant, this is great. But it's been a really good game. I don't think Burton were that bad in the first half, in all honesty, but they still made the same change here. Burton Albion, Mustafa Carayol has come on, but he's replaced Steve Seddon instead of Bez Lubala. And here he is making his first few touches here, Carayol, on the near side. Dinks it forward towards Lubala. His headed touch goes into the area when Nelson tries to head it back to his goalkeeper, and it comes off. It ends up in the hands of Vickers, who throws it out to the left-back Sibley, who's come off the bench for Derby in this second half. Cashin, switch out to the right, finds right-back Wilson on halfway. Forward here to Mendes Lang, inside for John Jules, back to Wilson, good play here for Derby. Wilson charging forward, low ball in towards the area, cut out by the heel of Sweeney, and it's now with Carayol, who will clear it away for Burton. Lubala will chase it, but Nelson will get there first in the Derby half, and he'll go back to the goalkeeper, Josh Vickers. High ball forward for Derby, again another header won by Jasper Moon this time, volleyed away then by Powell. Straight through for Derby and their goalkeeper, Josh Vickers again. So they'll start from the back. Derby County, as they try and regain the lead in this one where they were 2-0 up at one point. It's Max Bird in the centre circle, switching out to the right here to Kane Wilson at right back. Touch goes back into his own half. He's got Helm closest to him. Forces the pass back to Nelson, the right centre back. Cashin out to the left here for Sibley. Forward for Barkhazen. He's got plenty of Burton bodies behind the ball now. All bodies behind the ball currently as it's Curtis Nelson on halfway for Derby. Out to the right here to Mendes Lang. One-on-one with Carayol. Can he take him on? He tries to go on the outside of him, but he's well defended there by Carayol, who plays the ball inside the box, and then it's cleared away with the left boot of Helm. Throwing for Derby in the final third, and they'll keep the pressure on with 8 minutes to play. And there'll be another change for Burton. I swear you're allowed 5 substitutes now. Oh my days. Sorry, they're allowed 5 changes. Me going back to the old times with those rules. Another change that they're allowed to make. Bez Lubala, who's just not quite had the impact tonight. The DR Congo man. He is their leading goal scorer, but he's just not been in the game tonight. He'll be replaced by a midfielder, and that is Raheem Harper, who's joined on a free from Ipswich in the summer after spending last season on loan in League One with Exeter. So it looks like they're going to really pack out the midfield for the remaining 7 minutes as Kane Wilson in a right wing position. 1-on-1 with Carriol. Goes back into Mendes-Lang. First time cross into the box near post. Flicked on towards the goal where Barkhuizen thought he'd maybe done enough to get that in the back of the net, but he's caught by Crocombe, who kicks it quickly up the field towards Hugel. Cashin will let it bounce and he'll volley it back to the goalkeeper there. Good defending from Cashin, as it does look like they're going to leave Joe Hugel on his own up front there for Burton, and the rest are going to be in that midfield area. Cashin, midway side his own half, goes across to his centre-back partner Nelson. Who will bring it forward from the Derby back line, playing it out to the right wing to Kane Wilson. Ball over the top, in behind. Mendes-Lang will get there and he'll barge Carriol off the ball. Mendes-Lang squares it. Well dealt with by Harper. Off the bench, reading the game well there. He does concede a corner, but that could have dropped to anyone in the 18-yard box. Good run from Mendes-Lang in behind. He may have just went offside, but the referee and the linesman decided that the play was to keep it as onside. And then Mendes-Lang is cut back to the penalty spot, was aimed towards Barkhuizen, but it was a good interception there by Harper. But Derby have a corner to attack from, and Burton needs to defend. In it goes to the 6-yard box, header away by Osh Elijah. It's now Mendes-Lang who goes back to the halfway line here to Kane Wilson. Back out towards the Derby right to Mendes-Lang. Puts it into the edge of the box. Cashin heads on towards Collins, who's free in the box, and as he volleys, I think it's been blocked by Sweeney. That's an opportunity. He'd actually got away on his own there in the box, James Collins. And Sam Sweeney was quickly getting across to try and block that shot. Good forward header there by Cashin. And no, I think Sweeney's more just put him off. The header forward by Cashin. Collins went to strike it, but just completely missed it. Just miscued it. And wide it went. So it will be a goal kick. Sam Sweeney just did enough to put off James Collins, as Derby are going to make 2 changes of their own for the last 5 minutes here. Or just the one change, maybe? I thought I saw 2 players there, but one of them is definitely Tyrese John Jules, the loanee from Arsenal. He'll be replaced by number 16, Liam Thompson, who spent 15 games out with a hamstring injury from September to December. He's got the 1 goal since his return. That came against Oxford on the 29th of December. So just the one change for Derby. Crocombe with the Burton goal kick. Down their left-hand side into the Derby half. Headed forward by Nelson for Derby. Headed forward, though, by Helm for Burton. And as he won the header, he was brought down by Max Bird. And that'll be a free kick for Burton. Again, even though this free kick's on the halfway line, Burton will use it as a chance to lump it forward and try and get a shot on goal if possible. Switched out towards the right-hand side, headed forward by Jasper Moon, picked up by Sweeney. Plays it into the path of Moon again. Gets it through the legs of Cashin. It's now Harper. Back to Sweeney. Plays the ball backwards here to Caprice, then on once more backwards to the halfway line to Osh Elijah. He then has to go back again here to the goalkeeper Crocombe. Good pressing there from Derby. Crocombe sends it back out towards the right-hand side. Header won, though, by Nelson. Picked up by Barkhuizen, but his touch gets away from him. Loses out to Osh Elijah. And now Burton will attack here with Harper on the right-hand side. Caprice was overlapping, doesn't use him. Goes inside to the left instead to Powell. Forward to Helm, short ball, comes off Mendes-Lang, straight back to Powell for Burton. So Sweeney at left centre-back in the Derby half. Finds Carriol, who keeps it in play down the left-hand side. Charging forward, brought down, was he in the end? But he's carried on here. The ball drops to Helm in the area, tries to square it. Comes off cash-in as he was looking for Hugel, and it's a corner for Burton. They've been really good this second half, Burton Albion. Very positive signs under new head coach Martin Patterson. They have got height in the area here, Burton. Sam Sweeney, the tallest at 6'4", the Irish centre-half. They've also got the likes of Jasper Moon, who's not that small, at 6'1". So it'll be a left-footed outswinger on the near side here by Joe Powell. In it goes. Outswinger, like I said. One header by Nelson. Punched by Vickers. Still in the box for Burton. Headed forward by Caprice. Volleyed away by Cashin. Up towards the halfway line where it's headed forward by Osh Elijah. Powell will go for the second header. Won by Bird instead. He wins the third header though. Into Hugel. Tries a 1-2 here with Moon. But the header back by Cashin falls into the Derby goalkeeper's hands of Vickers, who wants to send it away quickly. Kicks it out of his hands into the Burton half. Headed forward by Brayford, the captain. It's now worked out wide right by Harper, but he's lost out to Hurahan, who gets it forward down the left-hand side here. Collins goes for a shot, which comes off Osh Elijah. And that'll be a throw-in for Derby in the final third on the far side. So still a chance to try and get a goal and a winner, possibly, for Derby. It's now Hurahan from Sibley. Ball to the right. Finds Barkhazen. Cashing out to the left to Hurahan again. Down the line for Sibley. He's got time to get a cross in here. Floats it to the far post. Miscued header there by Carriol, then volleyed by Sweeney. And away it goes for Burton. But it's headed back forward by Kane Wilson. Bounces. And then headed away by Harper. Controlled by Helm. Goes back here into Powell. Then tries to get in behind there for Hugel. Is a good header away there by Wilson, because it looks like Hugel could have been away again there for Burton Albion. 30 seconds and a 90 to play. Sibley, ball forward, cut out by Osh Elijah. Now with Raheem Harper. He's not got many options ahead of him. Lays it off to his right to Caprice, who clears it down the line off Sibley. Falls straight through here on the left-hand side to Collins, who's tackled by Caprice, but Collins was coming back from an offside position. So that'll be a Burton Albion throw-in. As if they win this, if they draw this, sorry. Burton Albion, that'll be just 2 wins in their last 6 in the Championship. It would be 3 without a win, but they've picked up points against Wycombe and Derby, then lost against Bolton, so there's no embarrassing result there as the ball forward for Burton drops towards Hugel, loses out to Cashin, out to the left here to Barkhazen, volleys it away up towards Collins in the centre circle. Header won by Sweeney, 7 minutes have added on time as Burton head forward, cut out by Wilson to Mendes Lang on the halfway line. Finds Bird, back to Mendes Lang in a right back position, out to the right it goes here to the right back Wilson, who's got a lot of green grass to run into, and he'll charge forward here, deep into the Burton half. He plays a low ball into the box. Thompson goes back here to Bird. Mendes Lang on the edge of the area. Forward to Thompson. Out to the right to Wilson. Crosses. Easy header away in the end there for Burton and Powell. Mendes Lang keeps it alive for Burton. Minute of the 7 added on has been played, and it's Cashin in the centre circle for Derby. Out to the left to Hurahan. Furthest left is Sibley. Everything to his right. As he crosses, nodded down by Brayford, then volleyed by Powell for Burton. Straight back out to the Derby left for Hurahan. Finds Sibley. Midway inside the Burton half. He goes back into Hurahan. And across to his right to Nelson. Curls it out to the near side here to Mendes Lang. Who'll put a cross in. It's got height, it's got whip, it's got a header of Burton away from it. But then straight back to a Derby player. So the pressure will continue to build for the away side. Will they crack under that pressure? They've got 5 minutes to see this point out. Hurahan, ball forward, cut out by Osh Elijah, but the loose ball will drop to Barkhazen, who will go out to the right. It avoids Wilson, and it will go through to Mendes Lang, who crosses. It drops in the box here. Wilson, volleyed with the left foot. It drops then to Hurahan, and it goes all the way through, and that could be the winner from the captain, Conor Hurahan. After going 2-0 up, they were pulled back to 2-2. And in added on time, it looks like they may have just stolen all 3 points. It could only be one man. It had to be Conor Hurahan, who scores his 4th goal of the season in the league. It's his 4th goal against Burton in his career. He also scored in the reverse fixture at the Pirelli Stadium, and that is an absolute corker from Conor Hurahan. They worked it out to the right-hand side to Mendes-Lang, whose cross was headed away there by Brayford. It dropped to Wilson, who had a left-footed shot blocked by Brayford, and then dropped to the edge of the box to Hurahan this time, who with his left foot saw a little gap towards the bottom right corner, and through a whole host of bodies, he's got it through. As he struck it, Hurahan, it looked like Powell was going to block it, and Powell wasn't able to block it with his thigh, and it kind of deceived Crocombe in the Burton goal, and it went right through beyond the New Zealand goalkeeper into that bottom right corner, and it gives Derby a lead, which surely they will see through now. It's Derby 3, Burton 2. That's heartbreak for Burton, but it's absolute delight for Derby. 3-2. Conor Hurahan looks like he's got the winner there with a superb strike on the edge of the box with his left foot. But we've still got, over 3 minutes left to play at Pride Park, as we've had 7 minutes added on. Derby have made a change. They've brought off Tom Barkhuizen, who got the first goal and assisted the second. He's been replaced by centre-back number 5, Sonny Bradley, 6'5", 32-year-old, signing a free from Luton. That's exactly a defender you want to see out a game, Sonny Bradley. As Burton go long, flicked on by Harper, headed on by Hugel, headed away by Bradley, nodded on by Bird, volleyed, attempted there for Derby, but kept alive by Thompson. Bird's ball forward, deflects off Powell, volleyed by Cashin, threw it in behind for Mendes-Lang, who brings it down. As the flag stayed down, I think it has, but Crocombe came out strong, really strong, took the ball away from Mendes-Lang. I think the flag had stayed down, and as Crocombe tried to release it quickly out to the left, it's gone behind everyone and out for a Derby throw-in. That's really poor from Max Crocombe. Ball forward there by Cashin, and yeah, well onside. Carriol being lazy, pushing out from the back, and he was nearly punished there. So unlucky though for Crocombe with the goal. Like I say, as Hurahan hit it, it looked like Powell was going to block it, and he didn't, and it just deceived Crocombe a little bit. Burton lose it with Brayford on the edge of the 18-yard box. Collins leaves it for Thompson. Hurahan out to the right-hand side there into a lot of space where he's asking a lot of Wilson to get onto that. It goes through for a Burton throw-in right towards the corner flag as the Derby supporters are literally bouncing up and down. As this results will put them joint second, just below Peterborough on goals scored. As Mendes-Lang's ball forward is cut out on the edge of the box by Brayford. Lifted up towards Hugel on the halfway line. It bounces. He's battling with Sonny Bradley, who heads it forward. Only as far as Powell, who works out to the left here to Helm, who tries to go back towards his own half here, and he's been pickpocketed by Wilson, who's got a run being made ahead of him of Collins, who will take over. And Collins will play it inside to the left here to Bird. Back out to Collins. Down the line for Wilson, who's then caught late there by Carriol. And that will be a free kick for Derby, who have only got less than a minute to see this result through. It should have been wrapped up way before this. They were 2-0 up in the 49th minute, then conceded in the 54th, and then once more in the 65th. But they've scored in the 3rd minute of added on time here. And it's given them a very valuable 3 points if they can see it through. Kane Wilson gets the ball down the line towards the corner flag, shoved off the ball. He's gone down too easily there. That'll be a goal kick for Burton. Just see what Kane Wilson's trying to do there as the goal kick's taken quickly out to the Burton right here to Caprice. Just before the halfway line, he goes back here to Moon. Big ball forward by Brayford, headed away by Cashin, midway side his own half, headed back forward by Powell. Helm controls it, can't get away from Mendes-Lang, cleared by Bird, can't make it stick up front there, Collins. And it'll be Burton to have the ball on this near side with Carriol. Goes across to the right here to Powell. Lifts it forward. Flipped on by Hugel. Comes off Sonny Bradley. Volleyed into the sky by Kane. Not a great one there. Hugel goes for it. And the free kick goes against Joe Hugel just leaning in there on Curtis Nelson, and that might be enough for the 3 points in this local derby between Derby and Burton. 25 minutes between the two places, and it looks like Derby are going to be doing a league double over Burton. Something they didn't do last season. They drew away from home last season and beat them here 1-0 for a penalty from McGoldrick. So it would be a league double for Derby over Burton. It will leave Burton 19th, but they'll have so many positives to take from this second half. I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine to survive in this league. As the free kick's been taken by the goalkeeper Vickers all the way through into the final third, where an offside flag has gone up, and James Collins was going early with a celebration as he heard the whistle, but it's actually a whistle for a free kick for an offside. But will Burton have enough time to get this forward? So Max Crocombe, just outside of his 18-yard box, will launch it forward into the Derby half, and before it can even be met by anyone with a header, it has been a whistle blown from the referee. And at Pride Park here it ends Derby County 3, Burton Albion 2. What a roller coaster of a second half we've just had there at Pride Park. Derby County will feel very fortunate to walk away with the 3 points there. They made that a lot harder than it should have been. They took the lead in the 29th minute through Tom Barkhazen, who also scored in the reverse fixture against Burton at the Pirelli Stadium. He made it 1-0, and he made it 2-0 through an assist. He headed the ball across the 6-yard box to James Collins, who made it 2-0 to Derby 4 minutes after the break. But only 5 minutes later, Burton Albion cut that deficit there. Steve Seddon won the ball off Mendes Lang in the Derby half, dribbled forward with it, and as he got to the edge of the box, he decided to let fly, and he drilled it into the bottom right corner, gave Burton a little bit of belief, and that belief turned into a real promise as they made it 2-2. Joe Hugel, who's been signed on a loan till the end of the season from Manchester United, scored on the counter-attack. Steve Seddon, who scored the goal for Burton, assisted it. He played it through. It was a sharp ball into the feet of Hugel. It went beyond Callum Elder on the halfway line, who was the last man back for Derby. Hugel went through on his own one-on-one. He aimed it to, it looks like his body shape was going towards the bottom right corner, but he put it nicely across his body into the bottom left, beyond the goalkeeper Josh Vickers, and he got Burton level. And I would say it was probably deserved. They'd kept themselves in the game. They'd been dangerous in that second half, more so than the first, and they were able to get themselves level. But the Derby relentless pressure eventually made it very difficult for Burton to see the draw through, and something they just couldn't quite do in the end. In the 3rd minute of added on time, their captain, their main man, Conor Hurahan, was able to score from the edge of the area. It dropped to him after a block shot from Wilson with his left foot towards the bottom right corner. It bounced beyond Crocombe in the Burton goal. And here at Pride Park, in this local derby, it ends Derby 3, Burton 2. Like it's the first game for Burton under their new head coach, Martin Patterson, who is a former assistant manager of Phil Neville at Inter Miami and a former assistant of Michael Duff, who was once of Barnsley and Swansea. But this is his first ever job himself in a head coach role. And like I say, the first half, they kept themselves in the game. They just didn't do anything going forward, but they battled well in the midfield. Second half was a lot better, getting forward more often, just looking more dangerous when they'd gone forward, and they were able to get themselves back to 2-2. And I think the fact they weren't able to see it through is, obviously it's going to be frustrating. Like when you get back to 2-2 and you can't quite see it through, it's obviously going to be annoying. But I think Burton, with the position they're in 19th, Derby are in 4th. They've just got to see it as a good first performance under a new head coach, and they're going to have easier games than Derby away from home. So I think Burton, if they can keep playing like that under their new head coach, and they can get he can get his philosophy into them a bit more. Apparently, before the game, he said he had 2 training sessions with them, so not a lot you can do with 2 training sessions, but they've really put up a good battle here against Derby. And Derby, they look absolutely fantastic when they're on it. Obviously, just a few lapses of concentration for the goals meant they obviously were pegged back to 2-2, but they'll be right within the mix for the title come the end of the season. And for Burton, even though they're 19th at the moment, I'm sure they'll survive okay. Obviously, I can't read the future, but if they play to a similar level like they did tonight, especially in the second half, I think Burton will be. I think Burton will survive with flying colours, and hopefully maybe they could push themselves up towards the top end of the table. At the top half, yeah, because they're only 5 points off the top half of the table. So, a couple of wins in a row and they're right back up there, Burton. So, yeah, positive to take. Obviously, just frustrating the way they've lost a point there, which they worked so hard to gain. Great commentary as always, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone who came out and watched. It was a good stream, that. A healthy amount of numbers for this League One game on a Monday night between Derby and Burton. Next commentary is on Wednesday. FA Cup replay. Blackpool of League One taking on the Premier League Forest side as they drew 2-2 in the first game at why is Nottingham Forest Stadium name gone out of my head? The City Ground. That ended 2-2. So Blackpool have earned themselves a replay. So we're commentating on that on Wednesday, and then Saturday we've got Barnet against Chesterfield in the National League, and then on Sunday we should have Manchester United travelling to Chelsea, and that is for the Women's Premier League. So we've got all kinds of divisions here being covered. We've done the League One tonight, we're doing the FA Cup on Wednesday, then the National League on Saturday, then the WSL on Sunday. So make sure you like and subscribe as we cover all different leagues and channels here. But for tonight, that's going to be the end of the commentary. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go. Turn on those notifications so you know exactly when I am going live and what games I am covering. But as Derby against their local rivals Burton, they went 2-0 up and then they were pegged back to 2-2. But their captain Hurahan came to the rescue in the 93rd minute with a beautiful left-footed shot into the bottom right corner beyond Crocombe in the Burton goal. Lots of positives to take for Burton. Derby keep climbing up the table with another win tonight. They go into third, joint second with Peterborough. They are 1 point off top place Portsmouth. Could this be the year Derby get back in the Championship? We'll wait and see. But tonight they've won here at Pride Park. It finishes Derby 3, Burton Albion 2.